Oh, there we go. All right, there we go. All right, I'm slowly but surely getting this thing together. All right, so we can be talking about comics and manga. I'm a big fan of both. I have plenty of both around here. Um, but I've been watching some Naruto. Now there is some wrestling stuff to discuss, I guess. I guess there's some wrestling stuff to discuss while we are, while we're waiting for people to pile in. So I'll back up a bit. I am Mongo Slade. Some people question whether I'm magnificent, but I am indeed Mongo Slade. We're gonna talk about comics and manga today. I'm doing the introduction a minute in. Anyway, comics and manga is two of my favorite things. Yes, there's some big wrestling stuff going on that I haven't talked about. I've seen the Malachi Black posting. I am itching to discuss it. A lot of people want to talk about it. To be quite honest, I'm probably better off just going in there and talking about that and not talking about comics and manga because I don't think maybe having my channel be focused around wrestling, attracting a wrestling audience, and switch it over to manga and anime or whatever. I'm not trying to switch over and do. I'm just trying to dabble in both. But let's talk about Malachi Black first, since this is a wrestling channel. I'm going to bait and switch. Bait everybody with comics and manga. I'm going to switch over to Malachi Black. All right, so because he put out a very long post, it was very long, and it had some interesting words in it. Matter of fact, can anybody hear me? I've seen that people are starting to come in. If you can hear me, tell me how the audio sounds. Um, yep, yo, Ninja. All right, so we're gonna talk about Malachi Black first. We're gonna dabble in this because I don't want anybody coming in here. I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna come in here 20 minutes later, like, hey, did you see Malachi Black's post? Yeah, yes, I saw it. As a matter of fact, we're gonna talk about it right now because, well, if I can find it, where did I put it? Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Never mind, dog. Okay, so we're going to talk about Malachi Black first because he put out this very long post. And it's too long to ignore. And there's actually some... What up, Al Hankerson? How you doing, man? Because he put out such a long post, and it's too much to ignore. All right? So we got to get right into that. And then we're going to talk about comics and manga because those are my two favorite things. And I like to take Sundays to be my days to talk about other things. I will talk about wrestling on Sundays, of course. The wrestling is an anytime thing. But Sundays is usually my break the mold day. That's where I want to talk about something different. And today I want to talk about comics and manga. I'm really kind of holding back talking about politics. But let's talk about Malachi Black first, since wrestling is predominantly what this channel is about. Malachi Black wrote, I'm guessing this is on Tumblr. That's what it seems to be. I don't know why this is a grown man with a Tumblr account. But he apparently is that. A grown man with a Tumblr account. He wrote, all. First, thank you all for your messages. Know they are being read and appreciated. With all the turmoil going on in the landscape of professional wrestling, I took the time to think of my words, but also needed to wait until conversations between mine and AEW's camp had come to a conclusion. Interesting choice of words. Firstly, I dislike reading parts of my private conversations between myself and AEW in regards to my mental well-being on the internet. These conversations were private and not meant to be shared with the public. As by now, most people realize I am a very private person and do not feel the need to have stuff like this on the internet. If you've been following me longer than a cup of coffee, you're aware I've spoken about them prior, but would like to be the one deciding when this finds its way to the public and not through someone else's mouth. As with anything through the lips of someone else, the story gets distorted. Let's start right here. He is very nicely saying that he's upset that his private conversations with AEW have been made public. Okay, um, this begs the question: who was he talking to? Who was he talking to that was leaking to the dirt sheets? That's question one. Clearly, this guy has some problems in AEW. This is a big issue. This is why, even though I don't want to talk about wrestling today, I got to talk about wrestling today. Because AEW being a leaky boat, it has been a running gag throughout this whole CM Punk thing. CM Punk says, oh, it's the EVPs. They're talking to the dirt sheets, and everybody knows that they are. Everybody knows that they are. But what about Malachi Black? Who would know about his mental health problems or any other issues revolving around him, and then will be going to the dirt sheets to tell about it? Who would that be? And then he says, I also needed to wait until conversations between mine and AEW's camp had come to a conclusion. So that means whatever talks they were having, they're done now. And now he can talk about it. That's another very sticky situation, because was there any type of non-disclosure agreements signed? We know that that's Tony Khan's favorite thing, is a non-disclosure agreement. Al Hankerson. I feel like Black would be the type of person to burn a Bible his grandma gave him on his birthday. I don't know. He seems to be very sensitive from my reading of everything Malachi Black has put out there lately. He's come across as being a very sensitive guy. And a lot of these, I don't want to say atheistic dudes, they tend to be a little bit emotional. It probably comes from family issues. And I think it comes from that whole Tales from the Dark Father thing, which he said, a lot of it was personal to him. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe he grew up in a religious household, and all the tattoos and all of the atheism and stuff like that was his way of rebelling against that family. And as we can tell, a lot of those people end up having social and psychological problems later on. But that's just me sitting back, talking about other people. I don't know this guy personally. But what I am saying is, when you look at, he's saying that his situation with AEW had to come to a conclusion. Their conversations had to come to a conclusion. What was those conversations about? We probably will never know. But I am very interested in the suggestion that his private mental problems, which he is now admitting to, this is an admission that that he has them. This is an admission that he has some kind of mental issues, and he did not want them in the dirt sheets, and there they were in the dirt sheets. That's something to be concerned about. That's something to think about. His next part is pretty lengthy. Let's go into that. He says, secondly, to be in line with the above, they also need context. I did indeed ask for my release. The last 2 years of my life have been lended to a lot of setbacks. Both me and my wife have been affected by uncontrollable actions from the outside that resulted in loss of life, medical setbacks, career jeopardizing, the suicide of a close friend, and a close family member almost losing their life. Then experiencing an injury that I was sure was the end of my career. I spent every week going through several sessions of rehab, dry needling, and therapy just to be able to walk and compete. Now, this being the tip of the iceberg, and with a combination of the promises in my professional field that were not upheld, which resulted as a combination of all of these to a complete demoralization of life and career. This decision has been in my mind for the past 6 months. It's hard to really put a finger and say, this was the moment it all went wrong. But I can tell you, after many years, that I have learned from a rational point of view to see what I need to hit the brakes, which is what this is. Amazing stuff here. Amazing stuff written in this piece, right? He admitted that he asked for his release. So the dirt sheets are right about that. Then he talked about the setbacks, a lot of setbacks. Uncontrollable actions, that will probably be something like COVID, right? Then medical issues, we know he had a back injury. He talks about the back injury most of this, that he hurt his back, and that was a big problem with him. And he says the tip of the iceberg with the combination of promises in my professional field that were not upheld, which resulted as a combination of all of these to a complete demoralization of life and career. So, because of his back injury, because of people committing suicide, because of all of the things that have been going on in his life, his career got off track. And perhaps there were promises that were made to him by who would make such promises. And he said he felt completely demoralized. Now, I'm not sure how long Malachi Black has been in AEW, but he was in WWE not too long ago. All right. Now, when he was released from WWE, he was kind of surprised. I don't think he was that upset. From looking at a lot of the responses, I don't remember it that well, but he seemed to be kind of understanding of why he was released. But he was excited that he was released because he had an opportunity to go to AEW and do something different. That was, always something that he was excited to do. So WWE put together, of course, the Tales of the Dark Father, and then at the end of those vignettes, he re-debuted. Later on, he said he was supposed to be the United States champion. He was feuding with Big E, and then all of that went away because he got fired. But he got restarted in AEW and was used Cody as a doormat for a little while. People were very excited for him to be there. And then a bunch of other stuff happened. A bunch of other people came in and kind of stole his thunder. Because for a while, he was one of the big guys who had jumped ship. Remember when him, Andrade, and Miro, they were the Danielson, Punk, and Cole before those. So it was like year one happened, and the big jump was Matt Hardy. Then year two, Malachi Black, Andrade, and Miro were the big jumps. And then year three was Adam Cole, CM Punk, and Bryan Danielson. But then he immediately got overshadowed. So by the end of 6 months, he hadn't really done anything in AEW. Al Hankerson, to be fair, he'll probably rejoin WWE near the Royal Rumble. I don't know. I don't know if he'll have, the ability to do that. I'm not sure he'll have the ability to join WWE in 6 months. So I can't say that. It depends when he can go and do something else. How does AEW feel about him going and doing other things? We don't know. We're not sure. But ultimately, we're looking at this situation where he was talking about promises not being kept, which led to demoralization. But there's been a lot of other things. So, I don't know. It's tough to tell. Is he demoralized with a combination of WWE and AEW and both of them getting him wrong? Is it an issue of, hey, I just don't get it? I don't get why you guys are screwing me around. Is it I'm not on TV and, I'm not doing anything, or my storylines have been dropped, or whatever the case may be? What's going on? So at least we're on some solid ground here where we're stacking up. We're telling a good story here. We're telling the story of a guy who has some serious psychological issues, also some serious physical issues, also some serious professional issues. And him saying, look, I need to get away from this. TN Pyro, did he actually get released yet? We don't know. Ultimately, in the first paragraph of his piece, he says he needed to wait until conversations between mine and AEW's camp had come to a conclusion. So we're not sure what that means. I'm not sure if talks coming to a conclusion means that he has been released or he has been given the okay to talk about certain things, or if he's been the okay to go home. Like we don't know what any of that means yet. We're not sure yet. So has he been released yet? We'll probably never know because AEW probably is not going to announce such a thing. They would likely leak it to the dirt sheets though. If it were true, I see Tony Khan leaking it to the dirt sheets. You know. That being me. That's just me. So the third paragraph the third screenshot from Malachi Black. Perhaps once my mind settles on certain things and processes the last 2 years a bit better, I will convey, via a different platform than written out, what the exacts were that happened, and have a more informed conversation about them. For now, know that I am good, and I'm taking, for the first time in 22 years, a few months to recalibrate the last 2 decades of my life. Lastly, I have read a few narratives online in regards to my quote-unquote release. Mental health and my personal life that I can summarize swiftly. If it didn't come from me, it didn't happen. Stuff about conditional releases. Stuff in my marriage or said mental health to leverage the other when, as I said before, that part wasn't even going to be part of the public conversation are false. My marriage is fine. I am fine. It is just time to make sure things stay that way. Once again, I appreciate your support and we'll see each other soon enough. So he seems to be pulling a Bray Wyatt where, this is not goodbye. This is just, we'll be back at some point in the future. We'll be back at some point in the future. Look, as much as I like this guy, and I get his frustration, because a lot of people were saying, his wife wasn't on TV at the time. And people didn't really understand why Zelina Vega wasn't on TV. I think she's actually been injured for a while too. But people started spreading the rumor that they were getting divorced. People started spreading rumors, which is almost always the case when people don't know anything. They start to spread rumors. I honestly knew that he had a back injury because he had said that in an interview. So I figured that was the reason why, if he wanted to be released, that was going to be the reason. Was going to be his back injury. I didn't think at all that it was going to be, the guy is upset about, something with his wife. I always figured that's always possible. Because I know Bray Wyatt disappeared for a long time. When he was going through a divorce, he disappeared for several months, I believe. As he disappeared in that transitional period between when he was married with his first wife, at least I think that was his first wife, and he was going through that divorce to when he was, hooking up with JoJo. There was a stretch of time there where Bray Wyatt wasn't on TV. So I figured, okay, it's possible that, they're going through some personal stuff and they're both off television, for all of that time. But it was all just a thing. It was just all just one of the many things that it could possibly be. It wasn't anybody saying that was what it was for sure. Did you hear what he said at that indie show? I think so. I think I have a screenshot of that too. Let me see if I have the screenshot of what he said at the indie show. Okay, so here's what he said at the indie show. I understand that all of you have questions. What I am doing, where I am going, in due time, I will answer the majority of these questions. However, for the last 22 years of my life, I have never, not once, taken a step back and recalibrated my life. I took a chance to look back at the stuff I've done in the ring, but also the stuff outside of the ring. You've all been fantastic. Please allow me a few weeks, maybe a few months, to just recalibrate myself. I promise you this is not goodbye. This is just we'll see each other soon. So I'm guessing that's what he said at the indie show. That's what it seemed to be. It's similar to what he said in the Tumblr post, but not exactly the same. Somebody said Zelina Vega was probably helping him with the rehab. Yes, she was more than likely just being a good wife and needed some time off because her husband was going through a difficult time. That's also could be the case. That's the issue with people um, just throwing stuff out there. You just throw things out there and you're not entirely sure what is going on or why. So it's entirely possible that some people are thinking they're getting divorced when really she's at his bedside because he's laid up somewhere really screwed up. And that injury had to be pretty bad if it fucked with his brain. I can tell you that now. That injury had to be pretty bad if it screwed with his brain. But it's a very difficult situation, and there's a lot in here that, if it was WWE, people would be, taking this thing apart and really looking at it. He's talked about broken promises. He talked about not appreciating the stuff about his mental health being on the internet. Those were private conversations between him and AEW. He talked about a lot of stuff in that Tumblr piece, and he's essentially walking away from the business. Now, whether he comes back to WWE or whether he even can, because we don't know the nature of his contract with AEW, so we don't know what is entirely possible or what's not possible, what's in the works and what's not in the works. It's just really unfortunate that this guy is in this situation because I think he's very talented, but he's getting up there in age. He's 38 or 39 years old, we already know Triple H has problems. We'll talk about Triple H in a minute. Al Hankerson, if Bray Wyatt returns, he'll need another gimmick. I feel like this Fiend persona has lost its credibility. I don't know, man. I think people will be happy to see the Fiend again. I don't think they'll care too much about the quote-unquote credibility of the Fiend. I think that people will just be happy he's there. That'll be the first thought. And it won't be long afterwards that people will get tired of it and want to do something else. That's for sure. It won't be long before people are like, oh, I never liked Bray Wyatt anyway. This sucks. And we'll be right back at square one. But I feel bad for Malachi. I really do. Because he was given a group in AEW, but the group was never given anything to do. They were put in a feud with Varsity Blondes that took forever for it to play out. It took so long for it to play out that most people forgot what was even happening. That's the difference between long form storytelling and I'm just picking up a loose end. When you're just picking up a loose end, then it's not really long form storytelling. You're just tying up a loose end. They never did feud with the Varsity Blondes either. They beat them in a couple of matches, but that was it. They took Julia Hart and Varsity Blondes, never did anything about it. They never cared. They never cut a promo on them. Nothing ever really happened. So it was very unfortunate that that happened. But the House of Black feels like it barely even got started. It's been going on for so long, but it feels like it hasn't even gotten started. Because the only thing that they did in the entire, year they were building that thing up was take Julia Hart. They didn't win any championships. They weren't in any big feuds. I think they were in a forever feud with Darby and Sting. It didn't really go anywhere. And if you thought that Malachi Black might wrestle Sting at some point in this thing, no, that didn't happen either. I think they might have wrestled in a tag team match, but that was about it, It just never felt like they were really getting off the ground. Ninja, AEW trademarked House of Black. They surely did. I noticed that too. That was very, very interesting. That was very interesting, wasn't it? AEW very rarely goes out of their way to trademark things that their wrestlers come up with. Like when AEW, when they come up with something, usually they just let them have it. They don't try to encroach too much on what the boys got going on. But in this situation, it feels like AEW wanted to make sure that he couldn't take the House of Black somewhere else, um, which is what they believe. And I think that lack of trust right there is another big red flag. Al Hankerson, Judgment Day versus House of Black sounds interesting. I would just put him in I would just put him in Judgment Day. Like, why does it have to be a versus? Just put Aleister Black in Judgment Day. I mean, done, right? You fixed the problem. So I wouldn't do that. Right, AEW is now trademarking stuff, huh? And then the first time they really jump out of the way to trademark something one of the boys did is House of Black. And they're talking about this guy leaving. And then this guy's like, I'm out of here, I'm done, I'm not coming back, or whatever the case may be. And they're like, well, we're just going to trademark the House of Black. And guess what? They still got Brody King on TV still doing it. He's still on TV doing the House of Black. He was on Rampage talking about just because you cut the head off the snake doesn't mean that there still isn't venom in the fangs. So that says a lot. Cut the head off the snake, that means he's not coming back. If he was coming back, they wouldn't have put that line in there. They wouldn't be playing into it so heavily if he was coming back. I don't think he's coming back. And I think Tony Khan knows he ain't coming back. The Varsity Blondes are done. They're dead. They're dead in the water. They've been dead for a long time, though. They was dead when MJF shit on Pillman in his hometown and Pillman didn't do anything. They were dead then. That was a hot match that they had an opportunity to do. So it's unfortunate. So AEW trademarking House of Black is something else. WG Phil, it's strange people want Bray back when they rate him worst wrestler, storyline, and match 4 years consecutively. That's just, the anti-WWE stuff, man. They don't care. They don't really care about Bray Wyatt, man. He's just a pawn in their anti-WWE game. That's all that is, man. He's just a piece of meat. They don't care a damn about Bray Wyatt. They want him to go to AEW to do what? They clearly don't know how to work that gimmick. They don't know how to use dark wrestlers. Look what they did with the Malachi Black. Look what they did with the Dark Order. It sucked. They don't know what they're doing. So Stone Mexican guy, what's up, man? Did AEW make a big deal out of giving their wrestlers freedom? And that's a good question. Yeah, they did. Question is, did he have that freedom? Or was Tony Khan meddling in his ideas? We don't know. We don't know. We don't know what the promises were that was broken. Maybe he was promised freedom in AEW and he didn't get it. He had to do what he was told. So, I don't know. Stone Mexican guy, Pillman Jr. always sucks. All he had going from him was his dad's name. Dude isn't impressive. I like Pillman Jr. I watched him in MLW. Obviously, he's very plain. He has not grown beyond I'm Brian Pillman's son yet, but the guy's not even 30. I think he's barely 25 or 26. So he's not that old. Okay, he's not quite David Flair yet. I'm not ready to put him and Dominic Mysterio in David Flair territory yet. I'm not ready yet. Here's the thing, Al Hankerson. You talk about Maxwell packing his bags and heading off to bigger and better. I think he's trolling. I think MJF is just trolling everybody about going to WWE. I don't believe that shit. He wouldn't be talking about it so openly or so loudly if he was really going to go. I think he's just using it to get heat. Brian Pillman Jr. is 29? He's older than I thought. Well, he's closer to David Flair than I thought. Why? Nobody is ever the age I think they are. Yeah, I thought he was a child after Brian Pillman's death. I did. Yeah, if you're going to do what you're told, just listen to Triple H. Apparently, but I think that's the big thing. Is Triple H, of all the people that have used his career since he came to the United States, Triple H has done the best. Vince let him play out a lot of his ideas, but then fired him. And then WWE didn't really understand him. And then they tried to give him TV time, and they tried to give people the opportunity to understand him. And people were just kind of like, okay, I get it. Like, I like him. He's cool. But WWE didn't get it. They didn't get it. And we already know he came across to me, and I don't want to be blasphemous too much with people who are big CM Punk fans, but that's how he came off a little bit. A tattooed weirdo who Vince wouldn't understand. Vince would have to sit down for hours and hours and hours to try to understand this fucking guy. And there's no way he was actually going to spend that kind of time on him. No, just no way. But Tony Khan's just kind of like, oh, he's a wrestler. Go do your wrestling thing. And Aleister Black is like, I got something to say. That's always been his thing. That's Bray Wyatt's thing too. I got something to say. I have a statement that I want to make through my wrestling. That's what Tales of the Dark Father was. That's what the House of Black is. It's something that he feels like he has to get off his chest. And he's been trying to say it, but other people keep meddling. They keep meddling with it. They keep fiddling with it. They keep fucking with it. I can tell you, just from the look of things, I'm pretty sure the House of Black did not turn out the way he wanted it to. Mongo, Johnny D. Mongo, who do you think Triple H would rather have, Wardlow or MJF? Triple H, he'd probably want MJF. For Vince, he'd probably want Wardlow. Because he can make Wardlow into MJF if he wanted to. MJF is... I don't hate MJF, by the way. I really like him. I think the guy is great. I love his passion. I love his intensity. I love how he sticks to his gimmick. But the guy's like 5'7" or something like that. That's the first thing Vince would see, is that he's undersized. He'd say MJF should be Wardlow's manager. That's how Vince would see it. Triple H would say MJF could be a star on his own. And then, and they both would be right. They both would be right. It's a Leo Rush situation where Leo Rush is really good by himself. And he could really do it as a manager too. How would I react to a possible dream match between Omega and Reigns? It's not really a dream match for me. Like I said, I'm too old to have dream matches that are wrestling matches. I'm too old for that shit. If Kenny Omega was to wrestle Roman Reigns, it would be the match, I think, that would turn some people who are kind of iffy on Kenny Omega into people who like him. Like, I think Kenny Omega's matches are fine. I liked his matches in Japan. I just don't think he has a persona or a personality that really matches or screams out being a big time draw. But I think that he could go in there and make magic with Roman Reigns. He's not a bad worker. I would love to see Kenny Omega in WWE, but his promos are not good. His personality is not there. He doesn't feel big league yet. He feels like a high level worker, and that's pretty much it. Special J, you're very welcome, sir. Conan and Disco love Dominic's segment on Raw. I'm not surprised. Conan is biased. Come on, Conan is biased. He's basically the guy, the kid's stepdad. Conan is so close to the goddamn family. Of course, he's not gonna shit on it. Disco, I'm surprised actually liked it, honestly. And I think the content of it was fine. I just didn't like the performance. I felt like the performance was off. The performance is shitty. The performance is not good. I'm sorry, the performance wasn't good. It felt forced. It didn't feel natural. It didn't feel like Dominic was talking. And I think that was kind of the point, is they wanted to make it seem like Dominic was being controlled. But I didn't like it. And I've watched it a couple of times since. I've watched it on the YouTube channel and stuff like that. And I don't know. Kevin Abreu. Mongo, Triple H want to bring back everybody, but can Triple H book everybody? Triple H can't even book half the motherfuckers he got now. He can't. Look, man, that Shotzi thing really threw me for a loop. Not because I was super mad about it. And I understand that I was probably in the minority of people who are like, why in the world would you just turn Shotzi babyface like that? My whole thing wasn't even that he turned Shotzi babyface. The issue is there was no reason for it, and then there was no explanation for it, and then there's nowhere to go afterwards. What's up, General John N. Wallace? How you doing? Mongo, looks like Edge is injured. Finally, Judgment Day can move on to something else. They want the Finn Balor Edge match. I think that's what they're looking for. Why they haven't had it yet, I don't know. Edge and CM Punk working a match and then getting hurt is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. It's embarrassing too, to be quite honest. Yeah, I feel bad for Black too. Like, I work in the mental health field, man. I know how bad sometimes people are really upset about things, and they don't really quite know how to dig themselves out of it, especially when you got major issues occurring. And like he said, man, COVID was rough on everybody. You know, he said he had a friend that committed suicide. He had some other people that got really close to dying. You know, don't forget his wife was fired from WWE out of nowhere, you know, at one point. Hell, he was fired from WWE at one point. You know, so he went through a lot the last 2 or 3 years. TN Pyro, Shotzi's heel turn happened out of nowhere as well. Not really, because what happened was they told the story of Shotzi having an opportunity and basically blaming Sasha Banks for her losing. It didn't happen out of nowhere because Sasha Banks was in her corner, and Sasha Banks was there. You know, them blaming Sasha was kind of, was it out of nowhere? I don't remember what happened before that. I don't remember what happened before that, so I really can't tell you. Dominic should have turned heel, saying he was always a Guerrero. Oh, God. I don't think we should do that. We should not. What we could do and what would be fun to do, and I think this would be very interesting, and I thought about this, I don't know, maybe a couple days ago, is if you really want to cement Dominic's heel turn, and you want to do something like you're talking about, put Chavo and Vicky with him. That's what I think. I think that but he's already with Judgment Day. And, you know, I would have had him come out there and Vicky's on one side, Chavo's on the other side, and they're the ones controlling, you know, Dominic. Like, that would be fun. What's up, Jeff Samuel? General John N. Wallace, Black situation goes to show that fame and money can't fix mental and emotional pain. Correct, and people often think it does. They think it can, but it can't. You know, the situations that he had to go through it's rough, you know? And I don't know how bad his back was, but I'm telling you, man, having a back injury, oh, that shit is the worst. I think back and neck injuries have ended a lot of careers, man. And this was a guy who said that he thought his career was going to be over after a back injury. So there that go. Goth Vicky Guerrero, I'm down for that. I'm not down for it. I was just down for using, you know, the Guerreros and the Mysterios being, you know, linked, you know. But I also came up with the idea that, you know, Dominic should join Legado del Fantasma. Like, I'm always for people controlling Dominic because he's a young man, you know. But I always said it needs to be like a seductress. They went in a very weird way with it, with, you know, Rhea being a dominatrix. But I was like, hell, imagine if you was a young guy like Dominic and Elektra Lopez was pushing up on you, you know, and, you know, she lured him away, you know. And I was saying the same thing similarly to when Zelina Vega was with Umberto and Angel and, you know, and those guys. I was like, yeah, or Andrade, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, that would have been perfect, you know. But somebody, you know, Vicky as sort of the auntie figure who I wouldn't lead you astray. You can trust me. The Hansel and Gretel style story. That would be great. Mongo, did you see on Twitter WWE play White Rabbit by Jefferson on Dark Match? Yeah, we could talk about that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Dominic's promos are terrible. Yes, they are. They're awful. They're god awful. They're not good. Vicky's aligned to AEW. Yeah. Vicky and Chavo, I think Chavo doesn't work in AEW. He's kind of a freelancer. But Vicky works in AEW, yes. I do hope Black gets better. I don't even care if he ever comes back to wrestling. It doesn't really make me much of a difference. But I just hope the guy's all right because, like I said, I saw him break down crying about Black Lives Matter. I was like, yeah, something wrong with this motherfucker. He's Dutch, okay? he's something wrong with him, you know. Right. See, that's the thing. Dominic works as long as his promos sound forced. You know, his promos sound forced. It is actually pretty good. If Zelina Vega, when Zelina Vega comes back, they're gonna make her wrestle again because that's what she wants to do. She didn't want to be a manager; she wanted to wrestle, and she's super small too. So she's basically just asking to be a jobber. But I think she should do both. I think both her and Sonya Deville would be very effective managers for somebody, and be very effective wrestlers. If Zelina Vega was managing Raquel Rodriguez, that would be a dub for everybody, wouldn't it? You can't go wrong with that one. That's your Lashley and Leo Rush situation right there. You can't go wrong with that. You know? And then they can feud later. Similar to Dakota Kai and Leo Rush. I mean, Dakota Kai and Raquel. All right, let's talk about White Rabbit real quick. So, Jefferson Airplane, they've been playing, WWE has been playing White Rabbit at house shows. They played it on SmackDown. They're teasing something or somebody with the White Rabbit stuff, knowing that people are recording it. A lot of people think this is going to be a new version of Karrion Kross because he played the White Rabbit in Lucha Underground, which I did see. I watched that. God, would that mean we have to bring back that jackass Paul London? No, I don't want Paul London back. I don't want anything to do with Paul London. He fucking sucks. All right, he's just a shithead. I don't want anything to do with him. Pair Hook and Claudia with female mouthpieces as sex models. Man, they don't got the charisma. She doesn't have the charisma. Like Claudio is a guy who doesn't. I mean, a chick would distract from Claudio if we're being honest. Hook, it'd probably distract from him too. Like women can add something to your gimmick or they could take away. You know, it's like working with pets and like working with children. PJ, are you talking about PJ Black? Because he only got like 6 fingers or something like that. Yeah, I would imagine it's not him because he's already doing something, so it wouldn't be him. You know, why would they tease him when he's already on the roster doing something completely different? They would be basically saying they're changing his character. So it's probably look. The White Rabbit comes from Alice in Wonderland. Bray Wyatt did the Mad Hatter, which was also a reference to Alice in Wonderland, so it could be him too. But are they gonna really license the song? That's the question. Like, are they really gonna license the song for Bray Wyatt? They're gonna spend all that money to license White Rabbit from Jefferson Airplane just for Bray Wyatt? I don't know, man. What do you think about Sonya Deville officially making up with Mandy Rose on screen and managing Toxic Attraction? I think Mandy has to get her revenge first. I think you give Mandy her revenge first, and then we talk about making up. But I actually had that idea at one point, like back when she was feuding with Naomi. I was like, wouldn't it be great if Sonya Deville said that she has to wrestle an opponent of her choosing, and then she found out it's 3-on-1 Toxic Attraction versus Naomi, and they beat the shit out of her. That would have been nice. But of course, they went through that huge feud where Mandy got her hair cut and everything. So you have to kind of explain that. You have to explain how that why they're not friends anymore. And now in Triple H's hyper logical WWE, they definitely have to explain Mandy and Sonya Deville. The first time they come across each other, they have to discuss where they've been all this time and why they aren't talking to each other and all that kind of stuff. I think the White Rabbit, I think it's just a pretty good tease. I don't know who it's going to be. Sammy posted a photo basically saying goodbye on Twitter. Sammy Guevara? Where is he going? You think AEW is about to fire Sammy Guevara? You think that AEW, who moves Colt Cabana to Ring of Honor to keep him around, and they're gonna let Sammy Guevara go? I don't believe that. I don't believe it. Bryan Danielson becoming a locker room leader. CM Punk is toxic. Yeah, obviously, that's probably what it should have been in the first place. But Punk has the alpha male personality where he wants to come in and take over. The White Rabbit is Mustafa Ali. Oh, well, look. I don't know if he has the ability to pull that off. I really wanted to. If it is Mustafa Ali, he's got to pull it off, and I'm not sure he got the ability to pull it off. Yep, Mandy beat Sonya in a loser leaves match. So you have to explain. Well, they've already explained how Sonya Deville was able to come back. She came back in a different job, and then because she was really shitty at that job, they pushed her back into being a wrestler. So they kind of explained why she's back. Well, that's the thing that Mandy could have a problem with. That, Sonya Deville's not supposed to be there. And, or whatever. So that's something you could play with. Oh, her getting married to Tino Sabatelli. Jesus. Some guys would just get all the luck. But that guy's been fired from WWE twice and AEW, so I don't know. I don't think he's going to cut it. I don't think he's going to make it, guys. I don't think he's going to make it. CM Punk is a diva. He's always been a diva. So, I mean, it is what it is. All right. It was something else you guys brought up a minute ago that I wanted to get into. Not just the White Rabbit stuff, because I have no idea. And it could be anybody. Alice in Wonderland is one of those things that, it's kind of like Mad Max, where people just go into it and pull things out of it. And people have been pulling stuff out of movies and TV shows for a long time. I'm hoping it's a repackaging of a wrestler that's already on the roster and not Triple H trying to bring in somebody else again. Bryan Danielson and Chris Jericho are honestly the only ones with common sense in the locker room to sort out Punk and the other drama. I don't know about that Jericho thing. Jericho has a lot of experience, but Jericho can also be two-faced. So I'm not so sure about the Jericho stuff. So I just realized something about CM Punk. He left ROH in 2005. Danielson won the world title. 2014, Punk leaves WWE. Bryan leaves the world title. Now, 2022, Bryan might win the AEW title. That's a good point. That, I hadn't really thought about that. That's a really good point. I think it's more true to say he was able to get an opportunity to break out. I think because Punk has a pushy personality, that people start to look at Bryan Danielson and say, hey, here's our guy who's kind of like CM Punk, but not a dickhead, not a tattooed idiot, not somebody who's going to blow up. And like Danielson has his own issues. Like he needles people, and he's talking a lot. He likes to talk about that kind of stuff. He likes to make fun of people, but it's always done in good fun, never because he's mean. It's always kind of done in fun. But with Punk, you can't tell because he's gone off on people about little shit. Like that story about him going off on Kevin Owens about a T-shirt. It's so stupid. That was so dumb, But he's sensitive, and guy doesn't have much of a family, and like I say, Punk doesn't keep friends very long. Yeah, Danielson's the rebound guy. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. At some point, somebody's got to put the belt on Danielson before they put it on Punk, right? So maybe some other idiot billionaire will come into the game and start spending some money. Yeah, I think Maxine Dupree is going to end up taking over the Maximum Male Models, but I think it's more likely that she's going to take over Los Lotharios, and I think that's probably going to be the better, and I think that's for the best anyway. T-Bar is the White Rabbit. I don't think so. T-Bar sucks. He's the most boring guy in the history of the business. He sucks. He sucks real bad, too. He's just big for no reason. Guy has no charisma whatsoever. He sucks. I watched him in the Independents. I watched him in NXT. He sucks. He sucks. Omega, Matt, and Nick need to kind of grow up. They should have been grown up. The fact of the matter is, they're finally in a position where they don't really answer to anybody. They're not behind anybody like they were in Japan. Like, when they were in Japan, they're not Japanese. but they were top guys, but they're not Japanese. So they always going to be outsiders. They come to the United States, and for the first time, you know, they're the top guys. They're the core guys. They're the central figures. Yeah, Chokokovich, he's the shits. He's the shits. I thought putting a mask on him would work, and I was wrong. I have to own it. I was wrong. There's just no way to fix that fucking guy. Unless you got a personality transplant, you can't fix him. He sucks. I don't know what to tell you. He's garbage. Punk is a cultist. Yeah, Punk is he's more like a cult leader. You know, he thinks very highly of himself. That CM Punk, and he's a very talented guy, but he's also a shithead. So I don't know. Greetings and salutations, Keith Bearcat Lee. How goes it? All right. There's got to be something else in here. There was something I saw earlier. I don't remember what it was. I lost it. Whatever it was, I lost it. But I do remember somebody asked me about the Iron Man armor and what Iron Man armor I think came across the best on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think they did a good job with the Hulkbuster. The Hulkbuster looked good. It looked good. They treated it like shit in the movies, but it looked good at least. Was it comic accurate? I don't remember what it looked like in the comics, to be quite honest. I think it was just basically a Megazord. Even though that's kind of what Dan Slott wrote, where he created like the Megazord, that fucking thing. But the Iron Man armors, I didn't like the way that they did the shit. I'm trying to remember the one in my head. The one that I'm thinking of. I can't remember what the name of it is. Secret Wars or Crisis on Infinite Earths. Since I'm a Marvel guy, I'm just gonna go with Secret Wars. Crisis on Infinite Earths is one of those things where it's just too much going on, because I've never really gotten into DC's Earth 2, Earth 3, Earth 0, all that kind of shit. Yeah, I think Bleeding Edge is what I'm thinking of. I asked which costume from any character where the suit was pretty accurate to the comics. Oh, okay. Any character where the suit was accurate? The Ronin suit looked pretty accurate. Sounds about it. Black Widow. The early Black Widow suit, when she wore the gray jumpsuit with the spider on the back, I wasn't expecting that one anyway. But the black spandex, yeah, it's pretty simple. Captain America, they just kept his fat mask off too long. Like, he has no mask in the movies at all. Like, virtually no mask. And then he doesn't have the wings on the helmet, which everybody likes. Everybody likes the wings on the helmet. I don't like the wings on the helmet personally, but there they go. Crisis was good until DC botched their own multiverse. When do they ever not fuck up their own multiverse? Outside of Green Lantern, DC doesn't do shit with space. That's the one thing Marvel has so much. I like the Moon Knight suit too, especially the Mr. Knight suit. That was very good, and I saw it in the TV show. It was very good. Who do you think would win, Deadpool or Shazam? Well, Deadpool is pretty much unkillable. Shazam is pretty much invulnerable. So I don't know. I think it's a wash, because Deadpool doesn't have any powers that can hurt Shazam. While Shazam could literally rip Deadpool in half, Deadpool's not going to die. So I don't know. First Crisis was blamed on Corona, then Manhattan, then Perpetua. DC can't get their shit together. That's because they keep creating new boss of all bosses types. Marvel keep doing that shit too. I don't understand it. Like, once you had the One Above All, and you had what's the guy with the Living Tribunal? Like, once you got all of them, what do you need to keep creating motherfuckers for, man? Like, we had Galactus, and then we had to have people above Galactus. It's like Dragon Ball. Like, Dragon Ball had, once you had Kami. Kami is literally God. That's what the word Kami means. Kami means God. And then we find out that there's people higher than Kami. And then we figure there's people higher than that goes, who higher than Kami. It's like, okay, you guys, we give up. So when I talk to people about Dragon Ball, And they used to see like all of these characters, like the Grand Kai and the North Kai and all these kind of Kais. They was like, how does this, like, none of this shit makes sense to me, you know? And I would just be like, at some point, I gave up and I stopped caring. Like, once they said this one is the Supreme Kai, and then he wasn't the Supreme Kai, I gave up. I'm like, I don't give a fuck anymore, dog. I don't even care. Lorenzo Granger, hello. Are you a fan of James Bond movies? Do you have a favorite James Bond movie? Yes. I'm a big fan of GoldenEye. I love GoldenEye. I love GoldenEye. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people don't really like Pierce Brosnan. They like the older Bonds, but Pierce Brosnan was my James Bond. You know, that was my dude, and I loved the game. So I really got into the movie based off the game. Some of the worst ones, I really didn't even watch the most recent one. I didn't even watch it, but Skyfall was pretty good. I like Skyfall. The world is not enough. I wasn't a fan of that either. Fuck that. Where's my Icon movie? The Blood Syndicate and Shadow Cabinet doesn't get any love from DC. Milestone doesn't get any love from DC at all. Period. They don't care about Milestone. They really don't. You know, I went through the books already. Okay, I went through, what was this, issue 0 of the Milestone books. I bought, I think, one Milestone, the new Milestone issue for Icon and Rocket. I think I bought a new one, and I compared the issue 0 to the first book, but the first actual issue of Icon and Rocket, it's actually not that far off the original, to be quite honest. So that means the issue 0 wasn't even canon to the issue 1. They don't care. They don't give a shit. The Beyonder and Dr. Manhattan are nearly equals. Yeah. I mean, once you get to a certain level of power, you know, it becomes who can blink each other out of existence first. You know, like, and who can bring each other back from existence, you know? Like, the Molecule Man can beat pretty much anybody because he can deconstruct anybody he wants. But at the same time, he's also a human being. He can be blinked out of existence by eternity or something like that. So, you know, once you get to that point, it's kind of like whatever. I didn't watch Young Justice. Since I'm going through and watching old cartoons and shit anyway, shoot your shot. Why should I watch Young Justice? Yeah, she is bland with a fat ass. But that's enough for right now. That's enough for right now. I don't care at this point. That girl thick as mayonnaise. I don't even care at this point. She needs a personality, something, but especially since, like, man, kind of blackish white girl. I don't know about that, but girl thick as hell, and that's enough. Because by the time I get tired of looking at her, she's usually gone, and I want her to come back. So I'm like, wow, she's so thick. And then she's gone. Did I read Marvel Zombies? I typically don't read that kind of shit. Like, I didn't read Deceased. I don't read Marvel Zombies. I heard a lot about it, but I don't really partake. I try to avoid alt universe shit. If that's just me though. I'm always trying to avoid alt universe stuff, man, because I don't want to get into something and I like it, and then they say, "Oh, it's an alternate universe. We can do whatever we want, and we're gonna set everybody on fire," like they did with the Ultimates. That was garbage, dog. I'm not talking about Al Ewing's Ultimates. I'm talking about the Ultimate Universe. Like, they went so far afield with the Ultimate Universe, I don't even want to touch it. I don't want to look at it. I don't care. And I know that a lot of the MCU is based off the Ultimate Universe. I don't care. The Ultimate Universe is so far away from what Marvel actually is supposed to be. They had Hawkeye, like, breaking his fingernails and killing people with it. Like, what the fuck? You know, they had Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver having sex. That was weird. Tony Stark had a giant porno going in the background. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is this? You know, like, this is stupid. It's stupid. You think Thor can put up a decent fight against Superman? Well, I think he could probably defeat Superman. Thor has a magic hammer. Did you forget? Just watched the first 2 seasons of Young Justice. They got woke in seasons 3 and 4. Ugh. Yeah, pass on that. But Thor has magic hammers, so I don't know. Maybe he gets the best Superman. What's the worst anime you ever seen? Worst manga you ever read? The worst manga I ever read. It might be the Wolverine manga. I only have one chapter of it, but it's not very good. It's another one of those they're trying to make Wolverine Japanese with a school full of ninjas and all kinds of shit. I'm like, look, I don't. It was interesting. I bought it at a Comic Con. I didn't care. There's another one of these girl boy books, or it's like a femboy book, where it's a guy and he looks like a girl and he walks through people's dreams and shit. I got like, I don't know, 4 books of that. I found them in not a bookstore. I found them in a free library, and they was just in there. I just scooped them all out, and they weren't even in order. It was like 4, 5, 6, 9, and that was it. And I was kind of like, okay, I sat down and read them. But the worst anime I ever watched, man, there's so many. I watched so many anime. I think we had this conversation already. Kill la Kill was garbage. Gantz, I hated Gantz. That was the first anime I talked about on my channel was Gantz, because it made me so fucking mad. You know, Gantz really pissed me off. I was 3 episodes away from finishing Gantz and then go back and watch it. I can't stand that fucking show. I hated everybody on the show. Hunter x Hunter, even though I finished Hunter x Hunter, it was boring as shit. I finished it though. I powered through. I'm one of those people that you should feel bad for me, because if I get far enough into something, I'm gonna feel like I need to finish it, when I really should just quit. Like, there's a couple of books that I have been reading, and I was like, I don't like this book, but I feel like I read enough of it that I have to finish it, and I could just skip to the last chapter, but I'm not going to. But I will continue watching a bad manga, or reading a bad manga, or watching a bad comic book run. It took me forever to drop Iron Man. Like, I was really sad, because I was actually like, okay, issue 1 of Dan Slott's Iron Man. I was like, okay, I didn't like the direction they were going in with everybody's Iron Man, yada yada yada. Okay, that was garbage. But I got about 6 issues in, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I can take anymore. I don't know how much further I went, but I ended up having to drop it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, after issue 100, and the Sophie Campbell took over. I pushed through. I tried, like, okay, Sophie Campbell's not going to be on there forever. And it was like 6 issues later, Sophie Campbell is still there. And I'm just kind of like, oh, fuck. Eventually, I had to drop it. Now, I'm cutting shit off at the first issue. There was a new Vampirella that I didn't really like. I just canceled it immediately. I read 1 issue and canceled it. Like, you know what? I'm done. Even though I make more money now than when I first started collecting comics, I'm running out of room to put this shit. So I'm really starting to get rid of stuff immediately. Michael Korvac is a deadly Marvel character. Did you just see what they did with Michael Korvac in the recent Iron Man story? It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. When the Fantastic Four appear in the MCU, they should do the blue and black suit, or the Negative Zone white collar. Negative Zone era Fantastic Four is my favorite look. I think they should go with the classic look. Go with the classic Fantastic Four look, just to set the standard and to give people the idea of what they should look like. Let's go with the standard Fantastic Four. You can freak the outfits a little bit stuff later. Like, maybe they'll have different suits for going to different places, because theoretically the Fantastic Four shouldn't be on Earth that long. They really should be in space most of the time, or in another dimension or something. The Phoenix of the White Crown is supposed to be Marvel's strongest character, but they treat her like shit. Look, I don't buy into that whole who's the strongest character at Marvel, because they decide that shit tomorrow. That's like what the fuck was his name? The Third Summers brother. Not Cyclops, not Havoc. Vulcan. They have Vulcan get beat up by Storm. Bullshit. There's no way Storm can beat up Vulcan. It's just no possible way. This makes no fucking sense. I don't buy into it. Does Scarlett still wrestle? I haven't seen Scarlett wrestling. The last time I saw her wrestle was in like AAA or something. I haven't seen her wrestle recently. She doesn't wrestle in WWE. That's for sure. I don't think they want her to wrestle, and she doesn't need to be quite honest. But matter of fact, did she wrestle in Impact? I think she wrestled one match in Impact. She wrestled Disco Inferno. Did I see? Have you seen My Hero Academia? Of course, I got the manga. I'm caught up on the manga too. Well, I'm not caught up, because the books are taking they're coming out quarterly instead of coming out monthly, because you have a manga shortage, you have a paper shortage. So I got book 30. I got book 1 to 31 of My Hero Academia. It is literally really the only thing that I have from the very beginning. I got the Fist of the North Star, but I got the hardbacks. I've never read it before, but I'm buying the hardbacks as they come out. Thor dizzied Superman during the Justice League Avengers, but Superman still won. Wasn't that the fan vote thing that they did? They did fan voting on that, right? Of course Superman should win in a fan vote. See, I want to see Cora Jade get an opportunity. She's an amazing, charismatic superstar. She needs to get better at cutting promos, but yeah, she's very good. The Ultimate Wolverine was a pervert pedo jerk. See, I hate the Ultimate Universe. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate every bit of it. I hate these fucking guys, man. It's like the Ultimate Universe just became the dumping ground for everybody's really bad, corny ideas. What's your thoughts on Miles Morales Spider-Man, the character? What character? He has no personality. I have not bought a comic book with Miles Morales on the cover. But I read, when they did Generations, I read that. And I've been following via Pirate in the Seven Seas some books with Miles Morales in it. And they're not sure what he even is. Like, for a while, I heard he was black and bisexual. Then I heard, okay, well, no, he's black and bilingual, because he's also mixed and he's now part Puerto Rican or whatever. And I was like, okay. And then I read the books, and yes, there is some Spanish in the books, but it's not a big important thing. And then they shifted him from his universe, which was the Ultimate Universe, into Marvel 616, and now him and Peter are sharing a Spider-Man name, which is stupid. It makes no sense. And then they keep putting him on different teams, but they won't develop his personality. They keep giving him more powers, but now he can turn invisible, and he's got electric touch. Like, what spider has electric touch? What spider can turn invisible? Like, these things. How did he have web fluid? How does any of these people have web fluid? Spider-Man created web fluid. How do they have it? Like, you want to walk on walls? Okay, cool. He got that from biting a spider, but how do they get web fluid? Where do they get it from? Where does it come from? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Dr. Doom versus Batman might be one of the most hardest comic book debates of all. Look, the whole thing with Batman is prep time. How much time are you going to give him to prep? Because what can he do to Dr. Doom anyway? He could throw a batarang at Doom. Okay. What's that going to do? He's encased in metal armor. All right. So if he's got something in his utility belt that can, maybe a smoke bomb or something like that. Okay. But then Marvel has done all of these goofy gimmicks where if you defeat Dr. Doom head up, then it's a Doom bot. And they've been doing that for 30 years. Dr. Doom can never actually be beaten, because anytime he actually loses, it's a Doom bot. So it is what it is. It's the same thing with Darkseid. Every time they beat Darkseid, it wasn't really Darkseid. So you're like, okay, whatever. At least Thanos takes his own L's. Worst manga ever, Metamorphosis. I don't think I've ever heard of it. I couldn't even get past the first episode of Hunter X. Hunter x Hunter is generic shonen anime with twists. Look, every shonen anime is pretty much the same. The same structure. Underage boy goes on an adventure, has a friend. Friends very different from he is, but they get along. They get along because they really care for one another, and they become true friends. Naruto went too far and had Sasuke and Naruto kissing. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't get that. Dragon Ball which kind of started the whole thing, didn't give Goku any friends outside of Bulma for a while. But now in these anime, within the first 5 episodes, you've got the core click already. So once I saw the core click of Hunter x Hunter, I was like, I liked Kurapika. I thought his story was very cool. Then they took him out of the fucking show, and I was like, hey, the guy whose people is getting killed and their eyes stolen. I would like to know more about that. Oh no, we have to. They're playing volleyball over here or some shit. I don't give a fuck about that. Vampirella has a weird backstory, and her canon is all over the place, and they're continuing to fuck it up because Christopher Priest is now writing a new canon for Vampirella. I have the Warren #1, and I don't see what's wrong with the Warren books. There was nothing wrong with the Warren canon, where she escapes like a Superman analog, where she escapes the Draculon during the drought, and she goes to Earth, and now she drinks blood. So, but she's not violent or malevolent or anything like that, and people don't really understand her. I like that. Why they didn't stick with that, I don't know. It's just, but just like I found out she had a sister, I was like, oh, in the Warren magazines, her sister is dead, and I think she went back to the planet, and her sister was already dead. She said it was a baby and died or something like that. And now they brought the baby back. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. They're just doing their own thing. Hasbro going crazy, $350 Ghost Rider Kickstarter. Back in the day, that would work. Today, probably not. I don't think there's that many Ghost Rider fans still left. It's a cool looking character, but most motherfuckers couldn't tell you one Ghost Rider from another. That's why I kind of like the car. I know a lot of people hate the car. He's Ghost Rider, not Ghost Driver. I'm like, dude, you can ride in a car, goddammit. I thought the car idea was unique. And since Ghost Rider can be anything, because it's the spirit of vengeance, he doesn't have to ride a motorcycle, okay? He doesn't have to. My Hero Academia is all over the place now, too. They're doing way too much. They're starting to do that Avatar stuff where, now he's in contact with all of the different aspects within the One for All, and I'm starting to lose track of them. They should have introduced them one at a time, which I thought they were trying to do so that we could get used to it, but it's all over the place. Oh, it said the JLA Avengers joint was canon in DC. Okay, but Marvel pulled a fast one and said they don't count it. Okay, but it wasn't the fan vote. I know they did one where it was a fan vote, and there was some suspicious stuff going on there. I think Al Hankerton. I think Batman would fare well against Spider-Man Rogues Gallery. Most of Spidey's villains, like Sandman and Rhino, are either below smart or stupid, so they can be easily outsmarted. Here's the thing, Sandman is not stupid. If you read Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's Sandman, he's not stupid. He's invulnerable and he knows it. But the thing is, he's just like Clayface. So a lot of the Batman would fight Sandman just like he would fight Clayface. So that would be unique. I would be looking at some of the more unique characters in Spider-Man Rogues Gallery, because can Dr. Octopus be defeated by Batman? Of course. Can the Vulture? Of course. Can the Green Goblin? Of course. There's nobody in Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery that I can think of off the top of my head that Batman can't beat. The Chameleon? Come on. Like Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery they're barely really a challenge for Spider-Man. That's why they keep doing Clone Saga shit. They don't know how to write Spider-Man to have unique villains anymore. But I really am down for a Batman Kraven the Hunter joint. Kraven the Hunter is one of my favorite villains. I'm down for that. It says, I believe Aunt May gave Miles Peters web fluid. Okay, but how much of that shit did he make? How much did he make? Look, I understand now that he's in 616, because in the old Spider-Man books, he used to run out of fucking web fluid in pretty much every goddamn book. Now, of course, he goes issues without without it. But I would think that, and that's the only one thing I have to say about Spider-Man, that the webbing is the most natural thing for the spider, and they made that the one thing he had to make through technology, which is very strange. Manga, who would win? Fantastic Four, Teen Titans, the Fantastic Four. Reed Richards is too damn smart. And this guy's just intelligent as fuck, and he's very quick witted too. So it's not really even a prep time thing. I think if Raven was to cut loose though, she'd probably banish them motherfuckers to somewhere special that Reed Richards have to climb his way out of. But Fantastic Four has, like, especially since they amp their powers up a lot, where, you know, Johnny Storm is now can go supernova. It's like nothing you can do against that. Maybe Starfire can do something with that, maybe. But I'm just kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, those dudes are they're pretty badass, man. The Fantastic Four. And are we counting the kids? Because if we can't count the kids, then maybe the Teen Titans have a chance. Are you a fan of Yu Yu Hakusho? Absolutely. It's one of my favorite anime. I love Yu Yu Hakusho. It's tremendous. Rhino versus Bane. Bane. Because Rhino was dumb. He's a big dumb. Shit on John and Wallace. Everything you're saying is why I stopped buying comics. DC and Marvel have bad writers, and it's hurting them for nearly 10 years. I think it's been hurting them more than that. Like, I was behind in reading comics, but I tell you, I read shit from the 80s, and I was like, wow, this is great. Then you read some stuff from the 90s, and you're like, okay, a lot of this is not very good. It's just kind of slammed together, but it's passable. It's okay. And then in the early 2000s, you're like, okay, some of this is very good. I like, but they're starting to do, Civil War. They're starting to do Siege. They're starting to do some stuff like that. Like, okay, they're doing some decent shit here. And then 2013 happens. And that second Secret Wars is about to take place, and things about to go off the rails. And it went all the way bad from there. What's my favorite battle from Avatar: The Last Airbender? That's a good one. Speaking of battles from that fucking show, I did not understand what they did to the eyeball guy. The guy who had an eyeball on his head. I don't understand what happened to him. Like, I know he died, but I didn't really understand what happened. I just sit here, I'm like, I think he fell off of something, or he blasted something and blew himself off. I was just kind of like, I don't get it. But I liked the early part of the series where you see Aang really, like, trying out his powers. Like, when they introduced the Avatar state, I was like, okay, it's just everybody got had their version of the Super Saiyan, which is fine, and it makes sense for him to have a state where he can utilize all of the different power sets. But my favorite fight, probably the final Azula Zuko fight. I really kind of like that. Azula was a monster. This girl was good. She was awesome. She was really, to me, the real villain of the Fire Nation. Because they didn't really do shit with Ozai. He didn't really do anything. He says, I do think Batman would have trouble with Venom, Otto, and Goblin because how stronger and faster they are. Venom, maybe. Goblin, he's, I don't know. Dr. Octopus, I'm pretty sure Batman could take him. Not because, Dr. Octopus is, slow or anything like that, but because he has a normal face. Like, his face is not mechanical. Like, if you can get around the arms, you can get him. That's what the whole thing in Spider-Man stories, you punch him in the face, and that's pretty much it. He got a normal man's jaw, but he has a superhuman brain. So he would probably come up with some kind of intricate way of being able to capture Batman's arms and legs, but after that, then what? I don't know. But the Green Goblin versus Batman, that would be fun. Manga isn't having a bad writing problem. Comics is. Now, some manga is maybe having a trope problem where they're not being as creative as they could be. Everybody's just following the same shit. They're just going in a circle. To be honest, after they killed Midnight, I was done with My Hero Academia. They had us believing she was raped, tortured, brutalized, and that was too much all at once. Here's what I'm gonna stop you right there. My biggest critique of My Hero Academia for the first 24 volumes was that he was clearly avoiding anything too dark. I was like, My Hero Academia is going out of their way to avoid tension, to avoid anything dark, to avoid bothering people and upsetting people. They're trying to avoid it. And I was pissed off about it because I said, and I was adamant, that All Might should have died. And I remain adamant to this day that All Might should have fucking died. And I was like, they're avoiding the darkness. They don't want to. They want it to be a light, family-friendly manga, and then light, family-friendly anime. So when they started leaning into the darkness, I was like, okay, finally some bad shit is happening here. Okay, now some bad shit is going on. We're starting to see how fucked up Endeavor's family is. I'm like, okay, good. He was a very, very abusive father, not attentive, basically treating his children like science experiments. You're like, God, this guy's fucking awful. This is a fucking awful dude. Like, he's worse than some of the villains. You're like, this guy's fucking awful. But you know that as you're learning about this, you see that Endeavor's crying about it. He feels so awful that now these kids are all grown up. And, they live with all of the trauma that, he put upon them. And you see that he's probably going to end up sacrificing himself in order to redeem himself. And you can tell that coming. Like, it's a typical Japanese thing. I'm pretty much sure that by the time Endeavor is killed off, and he probably will be killed off, that he's going to have regained his family's trust and love and respect. So it going dark for me when it comes to Midnight, I'm like, man, it's about fucking time, I just wish more people would have fucking died when the villains started cutting loose. He should have killed like half the fucking hero population. Like, that was cool for me. Because I'm like, okay, finally bad shit is happening. You've got motherfuckers like Stain running around. You've got the big muscle dude running around. And these dudes are like badass. They tearing shit up. You got the Nomu. They're fucking people up. And I'm like, okay. But I was really sad, though, when they killed Twice. Because that was my dude. That was my favorite character in the book. Twice was my favorite character in the book. I was pissed when they killed him off. I was hot. So I understand how you feel about them killing Midnight. I was hot when they killed Twice. I was like, fuck. Especially the way they did it, too. Because I was like, fuck Hawks. Fuck Hawks. I was pissed. Sokka hit Combustion Man's third eye. Oh. So that's what happened. The Combustion Man. I haven't finished Naruto yet, Lorenzo Granger, so I don't have no opinions on it. So far, I have to watch it in English. I can't find the Japanese dubbed in Naruto. That kid mad annoying, dog. He's an annoying ass kid. He's not as annoying as Sakura, though. Sakura's annoying as fuck, and she's useless. Like, I haven't seen her do anything. I've watched like 20 episodes of this shit already. I have yet to see Sakura do anything of note. She ain't done shit yet. And Sasuke getting on my nerves too, because he's like a fake moody kid. He's a weirdo. Have you ever seen, heard, or read Rurouni Kenshin? It's very good, even though the creator is a pedo. I have a Rurouni Kenshin manga that I bought for $2. It is volumes 10, 11, and 12 collected. And I flipped through it. I haven't read it yet, but I've been flipping through it. Now, have I watched the anime? Yes. I am a huge fan of Rurouni Kenshin in the anime because it's hard to explain how exciting it was to watch the final climactic battle of Rurouni Kenshin on television. With Ken versus Shishio. That was so much fun. And Shishio is such a great villain. And he's a sympathetic villain too, because the guy's fucking covered in bandages. He's burned. He can't do too much. That's why he was a villain where him having underlings made so much sense, because he can't do all of that stuff himself. as good as he can't, really get that involved. He can't go out and do all this stuff because if his body overheats, he'll die. And I was like, wow, that shit was tremendous. I love that shit. That shit was great. What's your least favorite My Hero Academia character? Hmm. Hmm. Um, my least favorite My Hero Academia character. Hmm. Uh, that's a good question. I'm not really. I'm not really a big fan of Deku's friend. You know, the kid who's always pushing him around. His name is escaping me right now. I'm not a big fan of that fucking kid. I don't like that kid. You know, he the he was better off being a villain. Like I liked when they teased that he was going to turn and become a villain. That was a great tease, and I think they should have kept that going a little bit longer. But I don't like that fucking character. I don't. It's like he's screaming all the time, and like his caption box is just always him screaming about murder and death. And you just kind of like, God, shut the fuck up, kid. Like I don't fucking like this kid. Um, the Avatar comics expand upon Ozai's syndicalism. Well, Fat Gooda did it for me watching the fucking show. There wasn't enough Ozai in the show. Instead of some of that filler shit they put in the show, they should have put Ozai in there. Bag one for Mercy: Doom, Luthor, Joker, or Goblin. Luthor is probably be the one of any of them that'd be more interested in your mercy. Doom has no use for you. The Joker is chaotic and doesn't care; he'll kill you. And the Green Goblin, I mean, he's a psycho. So what really can you do? Manga, whose death was sadder, Aunt May or Rachel from Dark Knight? They never really going to kill off Aunt May, dog. Anytime they tried to kill off Aunt May, now I guess if you mean I thought you mean in the movie, right? In the movie, yeah, probably in the movie because I really wasn't attached to Rachel. I didn't even give a shit about Rachel. Um, General John N. Wallace. The thing when My Hero Academia went dark, it changed the landscape. All Might dying against All for One would have given Midoriya an edge, but the rape of a B-level fan favorite character was too dark. I see. You know, yeah, I can see how that was. I see how that one was a bit much. That one's kind of tough. I dig that. And especially since rape is not a thing that you see a lot, and it's not something that's ever come up at all in My Hero Academia. So that does feel like a little heavy, you know. That's TN Pyro, or am I the only one that's not a big fan of Batman? It seemed like it. It seemed like it. I've never met anybody who doesn't like Batman. You know, not Sakura has one good moment in Shippuden. Oh shit! I gotta wait till Shippuden for her to do something. General John N. Wallace twice didn't have to die. They literally did that to piss people off, just like if they killed Toga. Some of the students or maybe other fan favorite villains, people are going to definitely be pissed. I read what Hawks said about killing twice, and like I'm up to the part where he admitted it in public that he murdered twice and he really didn't have to, and now the public perception is turning against heroes because now they see the heroes have a dark side, and I was so hurt that they killed twice that I really wasn't paying that much attention, but I see what he meant. Because as Twice was awakening in his powers, he could multiply other people to an infinite degree. So if Twice was allowed to do whatever he wanted, he could, double Shigaraki if he wanted to. He could double other people. He could have caused far more damage because his ability allows him to replicate multiple people over and over and over and over again. So maybe they did have to kill him off, I still didn't like it though because I feel like deep down inside he was a character that could have been reformed. I think that Twice was a character that could have been reformed, and I think they were that close, really, really close to a Donnie Brasco situation between Hawks and Twice, where Hawks probably could have been the one guy that he trusted and turned him around. Yeah, he was Twice was too dangerous to keep alive. And I think they did a good job of telling that story too. They did a really good job of telling that story that Twice was too dangerous to keep alive. But I still feel like there was that Donnie Brasco moment that he could have had with him, that they could have flipped him. People underestimate how shredded Spider-Man, how shredded he is. Let's not talk about Aunt May dying. It brings back bad memories of One More Day. Oh, I'm telling you, Sins Past is worse than One More Day. I don't care what nobody says. I fucked around and read Sins Past by accident. Because somebody was saying to me, like, oh, you think One More Day is back? And I was like, this sucks. Spider-Man makes a deal with Mephisto? That sucks. That's stupid. And I go back and I'm like, okay. Then I read Sins Past and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I read that, that the writer bailed out because he didn't want to write that shit. And I'm like, yeah, this is the shits. This is the shits. The lengths that Marvel will go to keep Spider-Man non-married and single is, God, they suck. They suck so bad. Who would win, Dabi or Bakugo? Well, Dabi is a monster, bro. Dabi's a monster. I don't know, man. I'm gonna go with Dabi. Dabi's a motherfucker, dog. And he's a heartless motherfucker at that. For the X-Men trilogy, should first team be First Class, Giant Size, or 90s X-Men team? I think, and this is just me, they've already done First Class. They've got to do the 90s X-Men team. I think that's the team everybody wants anyway. That's the team everybody wants. That's the team from the cartoon. That's the team everybody wants. Everybody wants the 90s X-Men team, so that's the team you give them. Have you seen Full Metal Alchemist? That's really damn good. I've watched both Full Metal Alchemists, and they're both awesome. The first one, of course, goes off the rails after a while, and it gets kind of confusing. But I think the homunculus are better in the first one than they are in the second one. I think they handle Hughes dying better in the first one than they do in the second one. Hughes dying in the first one legit pissed me off, made me super fucking emotional, and I didn't really want to watch the show after that. I was really hurt. Like, I was hurt than a motherfucker when they killed Hughes in that first one. I was pissed. And I was like, I can't believe they did that. But at the same time, his death had real meaning to it. And it meant something several episodes later. In Brotherhood, because you knew it was coming, I don't think it hurt that bad. I don't think it bothered me that bad. But I think the villains were more villainous in the first one. And even though they did kind of temper some of them, and they changed a lot of them. Like, I didn't like Greed in Brotherhood. Even if that was, manga forward, I didn't really like that Greed. I didn't really like the kind of Chinese analog characters. I didn't really care for them. I didn't think we needed them, to be quite honest. General John N. Wallace. Another thing hurting My Hero Academia is the fact that they are rushing it towards an end that doesn't really connect plot points too well. Looking at it, I can see why you would say that they're rushing it towards an end. At the same time, I'm probably not as far along as you are. If you're reading it like online, you're probably further along than I am. Like, I'm reading it only in physical form. So I'm looking at it like things have escalated very quickly. I will say that's a matter of truth. But I understand everything. So to me, it's not going. We're still just building up to Shigaraki versus Midoriya, and they're gonna have it out once and for all. Um, it's inevitable. So I think we haven't gotten off that beaten path yet. It's just about what characters are going to survive to see it. But I think that Midoriya leaving the school, which is what the end of book 31 is a big moment because of how hard he fought to get in it. Silver Surfer in the MCU feels kind of needed right now. I mean, to do... Well, look, I don't want to bring the Silver Surfer into it. I don't want to go anywhere near Galactus without the Fantastic Four already being in there. Do 2 Fantastic Four movies that are good, that are centered on maybe the first one should be about the Super Scroll, or the second one should be about Doctor Doom. Or maybe the first one should be about Doctor Doom, the second be about the Super Scroll. And then we do maybe some Negative Zone stuff, some Annihilist stuff, and then we do Silver Surfer. Let's see. How would you set up the trilogy? I think Onslaught should be second villain and a new final boss outside of Apocalypse or Dark Phoenix. They fucked Apocalypse so bad. They fucked Apocalypse so bad. An Onslaught series, I didn't like the Onslaught thing personally. It's just too stupid. The Magneto and Professor Xavier minding each other's bodies and all that. That was just kooky 90s shit. I think that we should just have Magneto be the villain in the first movie, because he would be the villain in the first movie. And then the Hellfire Club in movie 2. So then you introducing what the fuck? Shit, what is her name? It's fucking with me. The White Queen. You're introducing White Queen because you're gonna have you could then have her trying to influence Cyclops in movie 3. But that also opens it up for Phoenix. But I understand people are kind of tired of the Phoenix. I know I'm burned out on the Phoenix. I'm burned out on the Phoenix. I don't think we need to read any more Phoenix shit. But I think that the last trilogy should be God Loves, Man Kills. I think that's what you should do. Do the first one be Magneto, second one Hellfire Club, third one God Loves, Man Kills, and then maybe we go from there. I don't know where we go from there. That's when we introduce the Sentinels and everything, and God Loves, Man Kills. That's when you broke out the Sentinels. Because then after that, you might want to bring in the Avengers and all that kind of stuff to help them fight the Sentinels. That could be fun. G Coalition Brother number 17. Speaking of Brotherhood, I think they rushed through everything before the Zing guy showed up because they knew everyone was already familiar with that stuff from the first anime. That's exactly what happened. And I remember reading that on message boards that, the first anime did such a good job up to a point that they didn't want to retread that. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, thank God I watched the anime, the first one first. Because if I didn't, I would not have gotten some of the emotional beats that was needed to carry me into Brotherhood. But I definitely understand that's why they did it. He says, I am reading it online. Oh, okay. Well, I want to see when they plan to end it, because I wasn't reading Demon Slayer at all. I was going to try to read Demon Slayer because I was tired of waiting on the anime to boot back up. And next thing I know, they said, oh, it's over. I was like, what? It's like, it's over. I'm like, what? What you mean it's over? The fucking show barely got started. He just meets the Hashira, and he's just learning how to train and all this kind of stuff. And now you're telling me that the manga's already done. So I'm like, that's going to take... it's about to be fucked. But, whatever. Brainiac or Ultron? Well, Brainiac is more powerful than Ultron. Now, the difference is, well, there's different kinds of Ultrons, you know that. But, I'll go with Brainiac personally, because Brainiac can build bodies that can fight Superman. So, Ultron, technically he could build a body that could fight Superman too if he wanted to, technically. The Super Scroll might show up in the Secret Invasion Disney Plus series. Oh no, it's a Disney Plus series? Oh no! No! How they doing Secret Invasion without the Fantastic Four. Oh, okay. Oh, God. Phoenix is a good character, but again, bad writing has people tired of her. The movie's fucked up her reputation too. Yeah, and it also doesn't help that again and again and again, every time you turn around, there's new Phoenix shit. Like, the marketing for the Phoenix, they didn't protect it. When they did the Phoenix 5, I was done with it. Like, I was done with it right there. And they was like, oh, the Phoenix is going to spread her powers amongst 5 different. I'm like, oh, hell no. That doesn't make no sense. You know, like, that's already off the cue. You know, like, the Phoenix is going to come to Earth, want to bond with Hope Summers. I don't know why. But then we go from that to it's going to split its powers into 5. And I'm like, oh, hell no. Namor has Phoenix powers. Great storyline for Namor fucking up Wakanda. But ultimately, I was like, don't see the reason for this. You know, I hated this. Fantastic Four movie not coming out until 2024. Look, man, they can get the fuck out of here with that. I don't understand what's taking so long. You know, like, I get it. Fantastic Four has been damaged as a property, and you want to take your time. And now that Stan Lee is dead, you know, they probably fuck around and finally get the Fantastic Four right, and he won't be able to be in the movie. That's gonna suck. That sucks. Which saga do you like better, Goku Black or Boo? Goku Black. Even though I think it kind of went off the rails. I think Goku Black went off the rails. But to me, it was a little bit more exciting than Boo. Boo, it was both of those sagas where they throw everything at the villain and you can't kill him, you can't beat him. But at the same time, Goku Black, when I'm looking at that arc and you have this immortal, you know, God who now has the power of the Super Saiyans, that's a badass angle. That's a badass angle, dog. You can't top that. And then the time traveling is kind of what fucked that up. You know, that was kind of fucked up. And they started doing the time traveling. And then, but when he fused, I was like, oh shit. Because he had like that halo and everything. I was like, yes, this rules. This is good shit. Still don't know how you're going to kill him, but this is good shit. And it got off the rails, you know, after he kind of was whipping on their ass for a minute, you know, after he fused, it became a question of, I don't know how to end this. And I think they got to the point where they had made Zamasu so powerful, they didn't know how to end it. It's the same thing with Boo. It's the same thing. It happens a lot, actually, in manga and comics and shit. You make this guy, he's super omnipowerful, he can do whatever. How do you beat him? We don't know. We have no idea how to beat him, so we stuck with that. Do you think Shigaraki is going to die, or is he become a good guy at the end? I think he's going to die. I think he's going to have to die. You know, now maybe I love, and I will say this, I love that the scene where not Shigaraki, but yeah, his grandmother, yeah, his grandma, who was one of the aspects of One for All, and she asks, you know, are you prepared to kill him? She asked Midoriya, are you prepared to kill him? And Midoriya has like, I've seen the little boy crying or something like that, and he's like, I want to save that kid. Bruh, I stood up and I was like, that's how you write a motherfucking superhero. You know, out of all the horrible shit he just watched this kid do, he still wants to save him. Now, they did throw a little hook in there, because now you see that Shigaraki is being controlled, and it's not him controlling his own body, it's All For One controlling his fucking body. So they may pull something where he'll be able to live, but he'll probably have to sacrifice himself and die. It'll probably be another Endeavor situation where he'll have to sacrifice himself and Avengers versus X-Men was a sad book. Sad isn't it? Was trash. It was pathetic. Absolutely, it was bad. Every time they have the Avengers fighting the X-Men, it's not good. They did it in the '80s too, and it wasn't good. Um, you did you see the Werewolf by Night Halloween special on Disney Plus? I probably won't watch it. they took Moon Knight out of it already, so what are they gonna do? Let's say, what if question: who would be a good Phoenix host from anime or manga? Who would be a good Phoenix host? Not Tetsuo, that's for sure. Not Tetsuo. I think that somebody who it would have to be somebody who is used to power and won't get drunk off of it. Just came in. Is it just anime talk? Nope. You could talk about anime. I've talked about wrestling in here too over the past couple of minutes. Just throw out something and we'll see where it goes. Have I seen the anime Monster? No, I have not. I'm gonna look it up though because I heard about it. Who would be a good Phoenix host? Well, the thing with the Phoenix was when she entered Jean Grey, she was feeling emotions she had never felt before, and she was able to control Jean's behaviors. And Jean didn't have the ability to control that level of power. I'm gonna break the mold here on this one because I'm one of these people that I think outside the box. I like the idea of the Phoenix being an aspect of Jean Grey. I don't like it being a alien thing like that was inside the gym and all that shit. I don't like that. I like that the Phoenix was within her already. I love that because Jean Grey as a character, she really didn't have anything going for her before she became the Phoenix. So if you say that, Professor Xavier locked away the bulk of her powers because she couldn't control them, and that if she were to, let that power loose, she wouldn't be able to control it. She'd go mad with power, yada, yada, yada. That creates an interesting dynamic. With it being some kind of alien force taking over her body, then she's just possessed. All right? And then when you've seen what happens when superheroes become possessed, they have to die. All right? It's just what it is. Hal Jordan got possessed by the parallax. He had to die. All right? It's just, you got to die. So, it is what it is. But I like it as an aspect of her personality. I think it was in the movie where they found the Phoenix within her subconscious or something like that. Some people hated that. I actually like it. I didn't mind that. But knowing that the Phoenix's whole gimmick and how the Phoenix was so powerful in terms of Jean Grey is because it was the emotions that was driving people crazy, and not really feeding off of those emotions. It would have to be somebody who has their emotions in check. It has to be somebody who is so I don't know who that would be. I'm trying to think of it. Maybe a guy like Midoriya could control the Phoenix Force. He wouldn't let it control him. Goku wouldn't let it control him. So I don't know, but I think most people would go to their fucking head. Frieza is like the Joker. He's a popular villain, so he always comes back. Yeah, that's just kind of how it is. He's the main villain of Dragon Ball, so he's always going to come back. People complained when they brought Frieza back too, and I saw it for what it was. It was just a good marketing gimmick. That's all it was. It was good marketing. It was smart too, because now you have more stories to tell with Frieza. I'm just hoping that they don't try to rehabilitate Frieza. Like, they pull a Piccolo, they pull a Vegeta or a Tien. Goku has that history of, Jiren. You're an antagonist first, and then you become fucking friend of Goku's. I don't want that for Frieza, because once you do that, it's dead. It's over with. Question 2: what anime or manga character could you see training under Batman as a new Robin? Now, there's a lot of characters that would probably make a good Robin. That's basically Midoriya's job already. Is he's basically Robin to All Might's Batman, but All Might is all but retired now. But he's basically what you're talking about. He's basically a sidekick. He's just not in that position as far as because All Might is injured. He basically has to take over the role. But that's essentially what he was from the beginning. Was he looked more like a sidekick, and he comes across more like a sidekick. Um, there's a lot of good characters. I think most characters would actually be pretty good sidekicks. I'm trying to think of one specifically. Light Yagami would probably be a good Robin. I mean, yeah, like he's not so much as good of a fighter, but his detective skills, his deduction abilities, Batman would be very impressed with that. He'd be very impressed with that, and I think Batman would want that kid around. Light Yagami, yeah. I mean, Light Yagami is evil, so Batman would be able to help him with that too. that would be able to help him. Because Light Yagami wasn't evil at first; he was just a dickhead. And then by the time the end of the series, of course, he was just plain evil. Bennett 100. Which current wrestler today would you want to do an angle or story with? Like me coming up with an angle or story for them? I'm not sure. Well, there's most people I can come up with an angle or story with anybody, depending on how they're positioned in the company and who they've had relationships with. Whose fight you like better, Broly versus Gogeta or Jiren versus Goku? Broly and Gogeta. Jiren and Goku was fun though. It's just one of those. Goku, once he powered up I was just kind of like, oh god, I was like, oh god, that joint was fire. I like that. What do you think is stronger, Beast Gohan or Broly? Considering I haven't seen Beast Gohan yet, I haven't seen him in action yet because I haven't seen Superhero yet. I'll have to abstain from that one because I'm not sure. I haven't seen Gohan go max yet or beyond maximum. Dragon Ball don't they destroy canon every time they come out with a new movie or something like that. It's always a new movie, canon destroying movie. Sokka would be a good Robin. Yeah, he probably now. Yeah, cause he has to take his ego at the door. But yeah, he'd be a good Robin. He'd be pretty good. I think Aang would be a good Robin too. They seem to have the right sort of temperament to be a good Robin. To be a good Robin, you have to be a young guy who takes direction very well. Willing to do whatever Batman says, listen to Batman, but you have to be observant. You have to pay attention. But I like that all of the Robins. One of the defining things. I like that they have different strengths, of course. Like Nightwing's is, of course, his gymnastics. He's a very different character than Batman is as far as not being as dark. But then you had Jason, who was a proficient fighter, kind of a different temperament. Then you got Tim, who's got great deductive skills, great detective skills. Stephanie Brown don't count because who cares? And the one that Frank Miller created, the girl Robin that he created, she don't really count either. Here's a nightmare scenario: Android 21 with the infinite gauntlet. How about Cell with the infinite gauntlet? He just blanked all the motherfuckers out of it. He probably wouldn't even use it, to be quite honest. The Saiyan cells within Cell would not allow him to use the Infinity Gauntlet to his fullest ability. That Vegeta was too strong in Cell. I like that aspect of the character too. Is that they showed you that within him is all of those aspects of all of those evil characters. And he basically played into all of their weaknesses. And that led to him getting killed. Johnny D, who do you think is more overrated, Cyclops or Flash? The Flash. I hate the Flash. Look, I like the Flash. I hate the Flash. All right. I just bought Flash Rebirth. I bought it from Ollie's for $4. I read it already, but I want to read it again. Um, but I don't like the Flash because the Flash just it seems to be all of the Flash's problems that are caused by him running fast, and the only way to fix him is for him to run fast. I'm just like, oh God, please do something else. And I know that I'm not as up on Flash as I should be. Like I have Flashpoint and now I have Flash Rebirth, and those are the only two Flash comics I really have. Um, but I know Barry is supposed to be like a detective, and Wildly is sort of the fun-loving nephew and all that shit. I'm just kind of like I don't really get the love for the Flash. I get Cyclops. Cyclops is a character that's easy to understand. He is essentially the teacher's pet. That's all he is. He's the Boy Scout. He's the Captain America of the X-Men. He's the true believer of of the school. Where they fucked up at is when they started saying that Magneto was right, and then Cyclops became Magneto. That was it. I was done with X-Men right there. I was like, fuck this. All right, fuck this, because this means that Magneto's now an X-Men. I'm like, This motherfucker wanted to hit everybody on the planet with a comet. He can't be a good guy. I'm sorry. Why would you do that? Why would you write that? Oh, Magneto, he's got Holocaust problems. I'm like, fuck you. He tried to hit everybody with a goddamn asteroid. No. Hell no. He's a villain. He's a horrible motherfucker. That's like they did with Doctor Doom. Oh, Doctor Doom was a good guy all of a sudden. Get the fuck out of here. Stop writing that stuff. Nightmare scenario. Cell with Kryptonian Skrull and Kaiju DNA. Oh, King Ghidorah? Oh, shit. If he had Kryptonian DNA, that'd be more than enough. Skrull DNA? That means he could shapeshift? Oh, man. Just imagine if Cell could shapeshift. How more horrible can he turn? How much more horrible could you make Cell anyway? To him actually stealing people's faces. Well, I think he'd be too arrogant to do it, though. But that Kaiju DNA be something else. A giant Cell? Ugh. Light Yagami with Professor Zoom powers. Oh, hell no. Oh, no. Light Yagami, man. I'm just so surprised that nobody has tried to emulate that Light Yagami as a villain yet. And I don't think anybody's tried to emulate it yet. I would think that as big as Death Note was, that Marvel or DC would immediately have come up with something to rip it off. Like, it's not too much you can do with, like, some of the other more popular manga that's out there. But Death Note is definitely something you could rip off. And I don't mean like, him writing in an actual notebook. You don't need to go that far. But like a teenager who, works with the police, but he's really like a serial killer. And he's like this hyper intelligent, just Batman level intelligence kind of guy. I'm surprised they haven't ripped that off yet. Whose death was sadder, Android 16 or Tien in the Sand Saga? It was always sadder when all the boys was dying in the Sand Saga. That sucked. Like it really did suck. Like considering I had watched some of the OG Dragon Ball, I didn't watch all of it when I was a kid at the time. I've seen it all now, of course. But when I was watching Dragon Ball Z, I wasn't as attached to those characters because I had not watched all of Dragon Ball. But having watched all of Dragon Ball from Z to an Oob show, from when Goku meets Bulma to when Goku flies off with Oob, when you get to the Saiyan Saga, that shit is sad. That shit's sad. Because them boys get massacred. That shit's sad. That shit's sad. That shit's sad, bro. Yamcha just getting killed like that, that's some bullshit. That shit's sad. You think Goku's going to become a god when Dragon Ball ends? I think they're going to try to make him one and he's going to turn it down. That just seemed like a Goku thing to do. That, he's going to have, you can fight forever, Goku. And he's going to be like, no way. Dying is half the fun. Or some stupid shit like that. Joker with the Death Note. Oof. Hmm. Would he even use it properly? I think he'd be entertained by the Shinigami. He'd probably really like that. Prince Noctis. How do you even end a show or manga like Dragon Ball Super? Fuck if I know, dog. Like they, by opening up the universe, the metaverse now, or whatever they call it in Dragon Ball, you got stories forever. And they keep creating new Dragon Balls. So yeah, Xeno is super annoying. And now there's two of them, so it makes no fucking sense. They're gonna have to create some kind of god where there's only one, and he exists in all the multiverses. But you know, I also didn't like that they brought everybody back at the end of Super, even though I knew they was gonna do that because it's Dragon Ball. Um, but you got stories forever. I think they should start bringing in some of those characters that were probably in the movies of the Z movies that are non-canon, like BoJack and Lord Slug. They brought back Broly already. Might as well bring back Turles. Might as well bring in Janemba. You know, he must have bring them all in. Yeah, Joker with the Death Note would be terrifying, especially if he had the eyes, and he'd have the eyes too for sure, because he don't give a fuck about dying. So he'd definitely go double. He'd double down, get the eyes and everything. But I think for some people, it would take the fun out of it. Because Joker likes to have fun with his murders too. Death Note would get boring too. He would use it for a while, then he'd get bored with it. You know, he certainly wouldn't use it on Batman or anything like that. I was disappointed by what they did with Cell in the Super movie. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I think it's been spoiled for me pretty much, but I haven't seen it yet. I'm waiting for it to hit the sites that I use to watch movies. If there was a Thanos level villain in Dragon Ball, who should be the 10 fighters who should face that villain? Well, that villain is called Frieza. So we've already been there. Frieza is the Thanos level villain in Dragon Ball. But you also had Cell. He's another one. But yeah, it's Frieza. And they pretty much showed you who was going to fight Frieza, and he killed everybody. So everybody except Goku, that is. So there they go. And Gohan. Gohan escaped. Well, I guess Piccolo survived too. He just about killed him, but Piccolo survived. But yeah, Frieza destroyed the planet. Just said, "Fuck it, this planet's dead." And but he had the Dragon Balls too. He got all the Dragon Balls and everything. He says there's only bootleg versions that I can find online of people recording the movie with their phone. Yeah, like that's what I'm trying to catch. I'm trying to find something like that around here. I'm gonna do a movie review too if when I find it. I may do a live and talk about it. I find that doing the lives is a little bit easier than just doing a movie review. Izan, is that from Bleach? Is that the guy with the glasses? I haven't finished Bleach, so I can't tell you how bad that guy is. The same thing with Ruby. I didn't even watch Ruby. Frieza with immortality, though, I don't think he ever would have been motivated to do anything. And I think that's an interesting angle, because being killed is what motivated Frieza to want to get stronger and want to fight more. He never thought he could be defeated. So being defeated actually motivated him to actually train and to fight harder and to do better. If he was immortal, he never would have done that. Because he wouldn't have had any worries about being stronger. It's like the Kais, and that's an interesting thing right there. That I liked about Zamasu is he was like, we're the gods. How are we not stronger than these fucking guys? Like these guys are stronger than us. They're disrespecting us. We should be able to whoop their ass. We're the gods. Zamasu is an absolutely fantastic villain. It's just they did not have a plan on how they write themselves out of that story. So it ended the way that it ended, with the destruction of an entire timeline? I don't know. Blue-haired Trunks, that's how it ended. That was stupid. Stupid. What a stupid ending to such a great arc. And then also they brought back, they hooked up Trunks with old girl from the original Dragon Ball. And they de-aged her so that they... What is that? It's not even the GT universe. What universe was that? when she was young enough to date Trunks. It's not possible. She's old. She's an old hag. It was stupid. It was, but then again, we don't know what universe that they were in at that time. Dragon Ball is so fucked. You talk about fucked up universes. Dragon Ball is about as bad as DC at this point. They've destroyed so many goddamn planets. They've sold so many planets. People have power levels keep going up. They've killed gods 100 times over, and it never seems to fucking end. There's always more gods. Now they got angels. Yeah, they de-aged Maya in the Battle of the Gods movie. They de-aged. But the thing is, we were told essentially that it was the same Trunks from the Cell Saga, right? So when Mai was de-aged, she being young in Super made sense because she was young in Battle of the Gods. But why is she young in Trunks' universe? That's the thing. She should not be young in Trunks' universe because she was not de-aged in that universe. You know? Unless that is a different Trunks from a different universe. So, I don't understand it. All for One fused with Onslaught. Ugh, that's nightmarish. That is nightmarish. Because the last thing that motherfucker needs is the ability to like, a professor, having access to Professor X abilities. God. Oh, hell no. That's a tough one. I hate the Onslaught, though. It was so confusing. Majin Buu with the Infinity Gauntlet. Which one? Baby Buu? Fat Buu? I don't think Buu would even properly use the thing anyway. Infinite candy. Everybody's going to get turned into candy. That was, see, I'll tell you that. Like, that was my favorite part of the Buu saga. When he stood there and turned everybody into chocolate and ate them, I was like, holy fucking shit. That blew my fucking mind. That was my favorite part of the entire Buu saga. He was like, oh, candy. I was like, oh shit, he ate Bulma, oh shit. Then he ate all the humans. I was like, oh hell no, this motherfucker ate the whole planet. That shit was raw. That was raw as fuck. Like, that's one of those times I wish Dragon Ball didn't have the Dragon Balls. Whose death was sadder, Future Gohan or Vegeta Planet Namek Saga? Future Gohan. Especially if you watch the History of Trunks movie, then it hit you real hard at that point. It hit you real hard what happened to Gohan. Planet Vegeta, you didn't spend any time on Planet Vegeta. You know, like, you didn't know any of those characters. So it didn't bother you any. And then they keep changing how Bardock is. You know, so I don't know. Piccolo Doomed said, fuck them. Fuck them Earthlings. Cooler should be canon. Yeah, I think a lot of those, I think this is an opportunity for Dragon Ball to make all of the villains canon. You know, all of the ones from the movies. Make them all canon. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Darren Miles, when he turned, when he raised his hands up and he killed all the humans, that was fucked up. The human extinction attack. But to me, when he started eating people, that was fucked up. I was fucked up over him eating the crew, man. That was bad. That was bad, dog. That was fucked up. That was the one time I was like, they shouldn't even bring none of them characters back. Like, he just turned them into cookies and ate them and shit. Like, he turned them into, like, gumdrops and stuff like that. That shit was fucked up. I personally like Baby Vegeta over Goku Black. Baby is the one villain from GT, even more than Omega Shenron, that I actually enjoyed. I think Baby was a good villain. Him taking over Vegeta's body, I think a lot of people like Baby Vegeta. I like Baby. I think they should change him a little bit, though. Him being basically like a leech or something like that. I guess it was supposed to be poetic. that that he can. Wait a minute, Freddy Krueger only really exists in the dream realm, and if he had Goku's body, he already has all these powers. He had all the powers in the world in the dreams. He can do whatever he wants. He can still be killed though, I guess. So I don't know. Yeah, I like Baby Vegeta. I didn't like Vegeta in GT. I just felt like it was weird. Yeah, Baby had a really good motivation because they told the story, and it's actually canon, that the Saiyans used to share a planet with another group of people called it, and then the Saiyans wiped them all out. Like, that's good storytelling that the DNA of one of these things survived and it's coming back for revenge. The Tuffles. But it's why they haven't done it with Super, I don't know. It seems like it's a perfect time to meld all of the Dragon Ball canon and bring it all together. Make parts of GT canon, like Pan is canon again. Okay, fine. Pan is fine. Bulla is canon again, which is right thing to do. Or Bra, or they call it Bulla, but they making she's canon again. So Omega Shenron, Super Saiyan 4, and Baby. That's all we really need from GT. Do we know if GT is still canon? GT was never canon. There is nothing to back up GT. And I think outside of doing some character designs, Toriyama wasn't really all that involved with GT. I have let's see. I have a feeling Frieza might kill all the gods and is going to become the ultimate final villain. That would actually be a good opportunity. That would be a good opportunity for Frieza to finally get his hands on something that he actually wanted, which is immortality, and maybe wish for the powers of an angel, or wish for the same powers as Zeno. Oh, then he'd be unbeatable. You couldn't beat him. You say you think Pan should be able to turn Super Saiyan because she's only a quarter Saiyan. Yeah, I think all the Saiyans can turn Super Saiyan. I don't see why they wouldn't be. WG Field brought in Pan was canon in the last tournament from the manga. Right, but I'm saying is they just brought him back into the series. Because they were in GT, but they weren't in any other Dragon Ball stuff outside of GT, or outside of the manga. And when they did Super, there was no hint of either one of them. There was a hint of Pan, of course, but there was no hint of Bra at all. And then they had Bra be born in Super, so that was good. I like the concept of GT since I like the original Dragon Ball. I kind of hope they would do something similar, but better since we all have the universes now. That's the thing that kind of pissed me off is they turned Goku into a kid, and then they had the Super Dragon Balls, and then they kept Goku's power level the same. So Goku was like this really powerful child, and it was like, okay, what? What? I thought the point of de-aging him was to depower him, but you have to depower him, like that's. And then they made his team Trunks and Pan, and then Pan is super annoying. She's really, really annoying. She's super annoying all through GT. And Trunks is basically useless all through GT. How strong is Goku going to get at this point? Is he going to be able to beat Whis or Zeno? I think what they're trying to get to is Goku defeating Beerus. And being, I think that's where they're going with this. From what I was looking at, that seems to be where they're going is Beerus wants a good fight. And the Saiyans aren't really a good fight yet because they haven't been properly trained. Their power levels are too meager to challenge him for real. So maybe they'll get the Saiyans to a certain point where they can beat him. I don't know, but it seems like they're trying to replace Beerus. That's what it looks like to me. You think Goten and Trunks could be the main characters of their own spinoff show? I think they should have spent them off a long time ago. You know what? That's the one thing I feel like they missed an opportunity to do in Super. is when they said that it's too dangerous. Goten and Trunks have to stay home. And I'm like, okay, you're gonna take Master Roshi, but Goten and Trunks have to stay home. Ridiculous. But if they'd have did something where Goten and Trunks was having like adventures while everybody else was gone, that could be fun. You know, maybe there was some new villains that popped up. Maybe a new threat showed up to Earth, and it's like, oh, the Saiyans are gone, so now we can do yada yada yada. Only to find out that Goten and Trunks were there. But I think that characters not dying, characters not going away, has really hurt Goten and Trunks. Goten especially, he has no personality. There's just nothing special about Goten whatsoever. He certainly needs to do something. You know, he probably should be the dark horse, you know? And it seems like he needs to be the anti Gohan, you know? The one kid Goku didn't spend a lot of time with. So he kind of has an attitude. Maybe he's human in a different way that Gohan is human, you know? And I think Press 2 if you can hear me. Am I back on? Am I back on? Press 2 if you can hear me. There you go. All right, good. Sweet. I'm starting to see twos in the chat. Okay, sweet. I don't know, man. I hit a button. I pushed a button by mistake and it dropped everything. I don't know what the hell's going on here, man. Okay. I was talking about the Shadow Dragons, and I didn't understand y'all. I didn't know y'all couldn't hear me. So I was talking about the Shadow Dragons and Dragon Ball, and I also talked about the bite on Kenny Omega's wrist, well, on his forearm, and Ace Steel leaving a bite on Kenny Omega's wrist. The first thing I said was, "Are you sure it wasn't Kota Ibushi?" To me, it seems like he went all the way to Japan to hang out with his friend. Next thing I know, we got a bite mark on his arm, but we know that they're actually two sugary drinks. Yes, boy. Are you sure that it was Ace Steel who did it? Are you certain? But yeah, man, it's truly sad that that the evidence is out there now. So I don't know, man. I'm thinking Kenny Omega probably needs to get a tetanus shot, and you need a Hep B shot. So getting bit by random Chicagoans probably not a good idea for her. So it's probably not a good idea, So yeah, I saw it, but I was talking about the Shadow Dragons, and I was saying that Krillin's been brought back 3 times already. And that was already like a breaking of the rules, because in Dragon Ball, he's only supposed to bring back people once. And they keep having, they keep bringing motherfuckers back. And they brought back Krillin 3 times. And it's like, bruh, how many times can this motherfucker get killed before, you have some consequences? Maybe you need to bring back a zombie Krillin at one point. WG Phil said, it's still a work manga. You have to watch Being the Elite episode 6 of the Bite Mark. There is no Being the Elite. That's the thing. The Being the Elite has been shelved for a while. The Don. Who do you think has more potential, Pan or Oob? Considering Oob is Boo, then Oob, yes. Oob is just a human version of Boo. So he has all the Boo's like ability, powers and stuff. Can he turn people into candy? And is Oob actually going to show up in Dragon Ball Super? I think they should bring Oob into Super sooner rather than later, so that we can move beyond the Dragon Ball Z timeline. Because Super right now is all still taking place before the end of Z, and I don't understand why they positioned it that way. I have no idea why they did that. I have no idea why they decided, oh yeah, there's 7 or 8 years in between Z and Super, and then it's Z again. So we're going to fill in all of this time. And now these guys are like omnipresent and super powerful. And Oob is not really going to be as impressive now that he was before. So, yeah, this sucks. I don't know how long I was down. I was down for like 2 or 3 minutes. I don't know why people still think that it's a work. They're not going to suspend people on a work. They're not going to hurt their TV show for a work. But their rating has gone up, which is impressive. I'm still impressed with that, with the number they just did. Did you see that they threw Jericho on the show? I was just saying that the ratings are probably going to go down because Jericho wasn't going to be on the show. And then they throw Jericho on the show against Claudio in a random ass match. What the hell? Maybe somebody's going to wish WG Phil that they forget everything that they know about gods and everything. They're going to wish that they forgot it all. Maybe Beerus is going to say, you forget everything you know about the gods. That would piss me off. That would piss me off very badly. Have you watched the Phone Boost MMA video? Yes, I did see that. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But you have to be rail thin in order to even do it. Of course, nothing hurts. You can't You can't. You can't do anything. You can't do anything because you have no ability to throw a punch. Your punches are, you know. I don't even. How do you score it though? How do you score those videos? Like that doesn't make sense. How would you score that? Who would you have beat Wardlow? Good question. And I think there's only one answer. And I think you will find that answer on page 1 of the Book of Hobbes. That's who I think you have beat Wardlow. The only person you could conceivably have beat Wardlow that won't make Wardlow look weak. Don't have him lose to anybody half his fucking size. Let it be Powerhouse Hobbs. Let him be the guy. Or Miro. Let Miro be the guy. But I would go with Hobbs. Hobbs has to be the guy that beats Wardlow. And he's had the horse fight for the TNT belt. Even though they should be fighting for the heavyweight title. Is that why China throws forearms? Because their punches were the shits. Yeah. Well, that's why most people throw forearms. Because their punches are the shits. Either that or they think that punches are too unrealistic. Because nobody expects you to walk around without a black eye or a busted lip from a punch. I don't know about that one, dog. I don't understand the transition of forearms. I don't know when it began. You know, if we're being honest, I don't know when that shit started. It just happened one day, and we were just watching wrestling, and all of a sudden, everybody's throwing forearms. And like it used to be a thing where you see a few people do it. Then it's became a thing everybody does. Braun Strowman's looking like a bigger Miro right now. I don't know what you mean by that. Miro was cutting a hell of great promos. Braun Strowman hasn't said a damn thing. So he hasn't come back. His character is essentially the same as it always has been. Darren Miles, Powerhouse Hobbs needs to go to WWE. Yeah, he definitely should pick up the phone when they call him next time. And listen to them closely. You know, because you can make friends or you can make money. And I think too many people was in AEW, they was in that cult, and they were like, I believe in AEW because AEW believed in me. And it was like, yeah, that's great, but where's the money in that? You know, there's no cash in that whole Tony Khan believed in me. You're not getting main event spots. You're not getting good booking. You're not getting a top title contention. You're just floating. It's time to get the fuck out of there. You've peaked. You've increased your value. Cash in on it. You know? Unless you think that, unless you think you can't do better. Which, it's foolish to me. In the Triple H regime, he's going to drop the Gargano. Oh my God. I think it was Disco Inferno who got really mad at people who say like they think Triple H is going to start jobbing everybody out to Gargano, and he's not. That's not going to happen. He's going to be a mid-card player. Either that or Wrestling Soup. I forget which one it was. Look, man, I don't trust Triple H or Johnny Gargano. I really don't, because he loves that fucking guy too much. You know. Press knock this. Do you think that AEW ever had a chance to dethrone WWE or at least compete with WWE? That chance, which they did have, was fleeting and it's gone now. You know, it's gone now. I think they had an opportunity. I think the media wanted it badly. You know, the media wanted it really badly. And I think the best chance they had was last September when they just got Danielson, Cole, and CM Punk had only been there for a couple of weeks. They had the most goodwill they ever had before, and they squandered it. They ruined it. They fucked it up. They had Andrade, they had Malachi Black, they had Miro, Cody was still there. The turn of the year is when everything changed. January, when Cody left, everybody knew something was wrong. At that point, everybody knew something was wrong. Who's the bigger jobber, Krillin or Yamcha? Well, Yamcha, because Yamcha actually has not been in a real fight since the Saiyan saga. Yamcha has not really even been involved in too many of the battles lately. Yamcha has been essentially window dressing. He's there like a pet now. You know, he doesn't do anything. He doesn't really serve a purpose. Like, it would be nice for them to create a purpose for Tien and Yamcha. And I said to myself, like, wouldn't it be cool if, like, Yamcha, even though he's not the best fighter of the group, if Yamcha took over training like Goten or something, like, that would be fun. It'd be something different. Like, Goku's never around, so he hangs out with Yamcha. Gohan is so much older than he is. There's nobody else for him to hang out with and play with other than Trunks. And then maybe he just starts hanging out with Yamcha every once in a while. Maybe he likes baseball, so he goes start hanging out with Yamcha. And then he starts picking up some of Yamcha's fighting techniques or something like that. That would be something different and unique that we could do with Goten. Lion 2012, peace, Mongo Slade, love your work. Thank you so much, sir. I don't know if that means you're leaving or coming in. I have no idea. But I appreciate you regardless for stopping by. But yeah, I was thinking like Goten could be a fun character to play with, because how Gohan had Piccolo, maybe Goten could have Tien, or Goten could have Yamcha, or somebody that is a human, a human friend of Goku's that he spends a lot of time with, that he can hang out with, and it would be sweet to have somebody do the Wolf Fang Fist and it actually be useful, and maybe it's something he can learn from Yamcha, and maybe they can bond over Goten's love of baseball, because we know that Gohan sucks at baseball, right? He sucks at sports, so maybe Goten is good at sports. Maybe he's a good basketball player. Maybe he's a good baseball player. Yeah, that's a good idea, WG Field. Have Yamcha take over the Turtle Training School and have Trunks and Bulma be his students. Yeah, that would be smart. Or you have Tien open the Crane School, and you have Trunks and Goten and his students or something like that. That's a dope idea that would make them useful, and create new characters for them to be involved with. Now, Tien is a little bit of an isolative character. That's why I said Yamcha. See, the Don. If you were starting a promotion today, who would you take in first? Prime John Cena or Roman, or Stone Cold, or Randy Orton? I'm starting a wrestling promotion today. I'm taking it in their prime. Prime Randy Orton's an asshole. I don't want to deal with that. Stone Cold in his prime, he hadn't the chip on his shoulder yet. Prime John Cena is almost 99% WWE marketing. I think he can cut hella good promos, and same thing could probably be said for Roman. I think the raw material for Stone Cold and Orton is there. So I would go with Stone Cold. I'll probably go with Stone Cold. Yeah, I know what you meant. I know you meant Goten, but like, I don't understand why they haven't thought of that yet. Like, it makes perfect sense. Like, the non-fighting characters need something to do. They have all of this experience, and you still have two junior Saiyans there. They are not spending a lot of time with their parents. They're not hanging around a lot in the universe of Goten and Vegeta. So what they can do something fun. Prince Noctis, since you're going to be streaming a bit more regularly, are you still going to do the monthly Q&As? I think I will, because I still think that having just a Q&A episode would probably be a little bit easier to do. But since I answer a lot of questions in here, it's hard to say what questions I would get in a monthly Q&A. So I guess it depends. Let's put it like this: I hadn't planned on doing this joint tonight, so I'm really just kind of like, hey, I'm learning how to use StreamYard. I'm learning how to make this shit work. I haven't figured out how I'm actually going to use it yet. I'm just kind of going out there riding the waves right now. What's up, alt wrestling fan TJ? How you doing, brother? So I'm just still trying to figure out how this thing works. And then when I get, the system how I want it and get you guys used to doing it, we'll see. It's not just that because they're fucking lazy. It's also that this is just shit that they're not thinking about. People just don't think about shit like this. Mongo in the movie Goten and Trunks are older. Oh shit, they're older and they haven't done anything yet. Like people complained that they needed to be older. That's what they wanted. They've been kids forever. They've been kids for too long. I get that, but fuck, you gotta before you grow them up. We need something for them to do. Like it'd have been nice if they'd still been 7 or 8, and then because Gohan is never around, and Goku is never around, and Vegeta's never around, they start hanging out with like all their friends. Maybe it's Bulma's idea, that for them to go hang out with Yamcha, and then they go and hang out with Yamcha, and they start playing baseball and all that kind of shit, and they start learning that they like baseball, and from there he starts teaching them martial arts and stuff like that too. That would be fun, But what the hell? That would be sweet. Lion 2012, AEW's crack started with the Cody departure, and also Tony Khan's New Year tweets with Big Swole started where some people that backed Tony seen him in different lights and left with a bad energy. You know what? I forgot all about that. But you're absolutely correct. That did slap a lot of people in the face. That whole thing with Big Swole was frightening. It woke a lot of people up. What on earth? It woke a lot of people up. A lot of people were like, wait a minute. This dude's a dickhead. That's true. The mask came off. Absolutely. I hope the future Nikita Lyons becomes champion. Well, it's a given, brother. I just hope she get a personality. Like, I'm talking like a real personality. But it doesn't seem like what she's actually into, they will actually let her do on TV. Like, her gimmick would have to be something like she's like some kind of entitled pop star kind of thing. Because that's what she was before she was in wrestling. She was on like Love and Hip Hop, it was like some kind of trashy reality TV show. She was doing music videos, that kind of stuff, So that's the kind of personality she would have to bring to wrestling. But it's not a babyface personality. It's a heel personality. So maybe if they turned her heel, they do that. I've seen the new Dragon Ball movie. I'm very disappointed in the usage of Gotenks. I'm very disappointed that Gotenks is even in it. Knowing that Gohan is the hero of the story and Gotenks is in it tells me something's definitely about to go wrong. I'm talking powerfully badly wrong. Lorenzo Granger. What happened to Tiffany? She's not been on TV since her match with Wendy. Hope Tiffany come back on TV. I'd like to see her rivals feud with Mandy or Rose versus Tiffany. I think Tiffany got hurt. I think she got hurt in that match. I'm not sure though. But that would be the only reason she wasn't on TV. The Don. I like what they did with Goten and GT. We didn't see him much, but he was charming. Oh. The crazy thing is, I don't even remember him. I think he was just like a regular teenager in GT, wasn't he? Like, he wanted to go to the mall and check out girls and stuff. Like, yeah, that's fine, but, we need to see a little bit more than that. I think they wanted Goten to be the new Kid Goku. That's what they wanted. But it didn't work out because they just couldn't get rid of Goku. So now they don't know what they're doing. And I don't think it's good to keep the kid around if you're not going to do anything with him. I'm just not a fan of extra characters laying around. This is why they say kill your kill your lovelies, I think it was called. Kill those characters, man. Kill some of those characters off. And I hate to say it, but Goten is a character they probably should never have. Probably should never have brought in the first place if they weren't going to use it. What is your favorite Dragon Ball Z video game? Love your content on your channel. You are amazing. I appreciate that. Budokai 2 is my favorite Dragon Ball game. Uh, Man, Dragon Ball made some really fun fighting games, dog. I mean, the fighting games were a blast. You know, the Dragon Ball fighting games were tremendous. I just had so much fun with those fucking games, man. Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure for the Game Boy Advance was amazing. I never had a Game Boy Advance, so I don't know. I don't know how that turned out, but I remember I played a lot of the Dragon Ball games when they came out. There was one where you had to travel around and you had to basically punch and kick, and it was kind of like an RPG, you know, and you fought Cybermen and shit. Yeah, I love Budokai 2. You know, Budokai 2 is tremendous. The When they started doing I think that was before they started cell shading the games. They changed the animation on the games. You saying Chi should have swallowed Goten? I don't know if she could have handled swallowing them. You know, I mean, my thing is, if you're gonna don't introduce a character you have no interest in doing anything with, you know, that's just my thing. As a writer, I don't introduce characters I don't intend to use. You know, if I'm done using them, I kill them off, or I'll retire them, give them a send off. You know, and Goten and Trunks are too new for you to send them off. You know, so it's unfortunate, but you gotta do something with these fucking guys. I just found a link to Dragon Ball Superhero, if I remember correctly. Well, if I'm looking at this correctly. So I'll probably end up watching this before I go to bed. Or I'll probably watch it first thing in the morning. Sagas is the one that I'm talking about, where you walking around. I played that game. I didn't really care for it. But I did like Budokai 2. Budokai 3, I think that's when they started doing the crazy animations. I didn't really care for that. What time your favorite sitcom animation series do you like? King of the Hill. King of the Hill is my favorite animated series. It's my favorite. King of the Hill is great. MTV used to make pretty good ones too, but then they canceled them all. Like Undergrads, they canceled it, but it was pretty good. All Gotenks did with silly stuff. That's whack. That's all they've been doing with Gotenks for a few years now. I think they created Gotenks for no reason. And I think that's the only reason that Goten and Trunks are still in the series, so they can have Gotenks do funny stuff. That's it. If Black and Globe flopping, who doesn't wake up trips, what will? I think that right now he's riding on a wave of success. I'm thinking when the bloom is off the rose and everybody's done with the love in on Triple H, they're going to bite him venomously in the ass, and he's going to learn what Vince had to deal with for 30 years. And that is, these people don't want to see you shine, you know? And especially once he finds out who his guy, once everybody finds out who Triple H's guy is, it's over. It's over. Especially if it's an indie guy. Being from Detroit, have you had a chance to go to Toronto or Canada in general? I'm from Toronto. I've been to Detroit many times. I've been to Windsor several times. I haven't been that deep into Canada. I think I've been to Toronto. I'm not sure because my uncle, when he was alive, he married a Canadian woman and she lived in Toronto. And I think we went to visit her and we drove. But I'm not entirely possible that was the case. I'm thinking maybe she lived in Windsor. But I think she just lives in Toronto now, but I think she lived in Windsor before. Mongo, you seen Jared Goff looking like the next coming of Tom Brady versus the Commanders. I'm surprised at how many points the Lions scored the last two games. They scored 35 points the last two games. They lost the first one. They won the second one. I was very impressed with that game, by the way. I didn't like that the Commanders was coming back. I don't like the name Commanders. That shit whack. But they the Lions almost let them come back. So I don't know, man. But golf wasn't bad tonight. Today. Amon Ra was very good though. Amon Ra was very good. Roderick Strong is his guy. No, he's not. Roderick Strong never won the NXT belt, so no, he's not his guy. It seems Triple H is leaning more towards the indie dudes that he liked. He hasn't picked a successor yet. It seems like they're just going to go with what Vince has set up, which is probably going to be Cody. So it's going to be a while before Triple H is like, this is my guy. This is the guy I'm putting all my effort and stuff into. This is going to be my young guy. And I say there's a list of guys out there. Braun Breaker, Riddick Moss, Tony D'Angelo, Austin Theory. There's quite a few young guys on the roster that Triple H could pick from. Soon as he picks one of those fucking guys to be his dude going forward, it might be Carmelo Hayes. If it's Carmelo Hayes, I don't think people will be too mad. If it's Braun Breaker, especially expect people to get pissed about it. If it's Austin Theory, expect people to get pissed about it. People are already pissed Austin Theory is getting pushed. But he's basically just been spending all this time rejuvenating his bullshit indie guys, which sucks. But Don, who you like more, Hank Walker or Damon Kemp? Damon Kemp. I've only seen one Hank Walker match. I've only seen one. He was super over, but I think that mostly had to do with his storyline. And Big Body Javi getting that heat. Big Body Javi getting that heat, you feel me? He's such a dickhead. But I think that Triple H needs to pick his guys and get ready to get his guys. Darren Gordon Hill finally found the place. What's up, man? How you doing? Triple H is going to take forever to find his guys, man. He's not going to do it anytime soon. He's going to be in a difficult space, right? And when the titles are separated, though, watch. It's going to get ugly for him. Right now, he's leaning in off of some of the stuff Vince was doing with the bloodline and everything. He inherited a good spot. He's just really increasing the undercard. He ain't got to touch the top too much. But once he got to start messing with the top of the card, we'll see how it turns out then. When he starts to decide to take the belt off Bianca or take the belt off Liv, then we'll see what's up. Some of those belts you can move around. You can't move Roman's belts. Who he decides to beat Gunther will be another one that's going to be very interesting. Who he has beat Bobby Lashley. That's also going to be interesting too. That ought to be very interesting. Lion 2012. I watch Detroit stations. I can see them on my smart TV up here. I grew up watching Canadian TV. I grew up with Mr. Dress Up, Bananas in Pajamas, the Polka Dot Door. I used to love the Polka Dot Door when I was a kid. It was great. But I grew up with all that Canadian shit on my television. I used to get it through public access. Public access TV stations used to have all the Canadian stuff. I even said, spent, probably 2 or 3 weeks calling ZZ because I watched so much Canadian TV when I was a kid. So much CBC. Yep, Canadian children's shows. I definitely watched those joints when I was a kid. Who is better, RVD or AJ Styles in their prime? You must have seen CTV and CBC. Yep, I saw both of them. I had both of them. Yeah, I had both of them here in Detroit. CBC was a regular channel here. I could just turn my TV station and pick up Canadian TV. That's where I got to see Mr. Dress Up and the Polka Dot Door and Bananas in Pajamas. And I used to get some shows from England too, but that was through PBS. Because PBS used to have dry British humor shows. Ninja, do you think we will get a SmackDown 6 again? I think Triple H is building a roster on both brands of guys that he trusts to do stuff. But I think he inherited something on SmackDown with the bloodline. And he's just gonna increase that and do better with it. But we basically pretty much already got a SmackDown 6. You got the bloodline, that's 4 right there with 5 because you got Sami Zayn. Then you got Gunther and Imperium, that's 7. Um, so you know, he hasn't done anything with the women on SmackDown yet. Not really. On the only thing he's really doing anything with in terms of women is Bailey's group, and they're flopping. They're flopping hard. Said Canada got jokes. A lot of them big names in U.S. or Canada. Yeah, a lot of them are. I didn't know Drew Carey. I didn't know Jim Carrey is Canadian until I was like almost in my 30s. I didn't know he was Canadian. I didn't. But I grew up watching Kids in the Hall, so I had that stuff, on my television. I could watch it. I always had more fun with Canadian television, but it also made me kind of salty about Canada because I was like, Canada's just too damn nice. It's just too nice. I don't think I've ever seen anybody argue on a Canadian TV show. PBS English shows, watch those plus have family there. Yeah, like I used to see a lot of PBS TV. They used to show a lot of. It just made a movie for this show. What was it called? Um, I watched probably one episode of it, but people seem to really like it. But it's like an old British TV show. They just made a movie for it. Um, Downton Abbey, I think it's called. Mongo, you got to take one: a Seth Stomp or a Goldberg Spear. Ooh, a Seth Stomp. I don't want to go Goldberg Spear. That Goldberg Spear, like that shit gonna cut you in half. You know, how much money am I getting paid here? He said, "I'm an island brother. Many of us in Canada and England." Oh yeah, so you from? When I went to Canada, there was a lot of Somalians there. I didn't know there was that many Jamaicans until uh, it was a Jamaican rapper came out of Canada. I forget what his name is, but I didn't know there was so many Jamaicans in Canada. Yep, Tom Green is Canadian too. Yep, Freddy Got Fingered is one of my favorite movies. It's a stupid fucking movie too. God, that movie is fucking stupid. Um, Kids in the Hall. It's so ridiculous. I used to love the crunching thing they used to do with the heads, where they look at people's heads and crunch it. It was crazy. Barbados. Okay, sweet. Mongo, what do you prefer, going to the movie theater or streaming movies at home? Depends on the movie. Like when I went to go see Doctor Strange, I liked seeing it in the theater more than I like watching it at home. Then I watched it at home and I was like, do I think New Day will ever break up? I don't think they'll let them. I don't think they'll ever let them. I don't think they're gonna fight it to death. They're not never gonna let it happen. They're stale as shit and they're still fighting it. Yeah, that was the funniest. That was the funniest gag from Kids in the Hall for me. Um, they used to do the head crunching thing. This is my funniest. I used to do that to people, and they never really got it because they never watched the shit. Like it was crazy how we all had access to the same TV shows. They never watched the same shit. I will always be. They see me like I was sitting on my porch as they walk into school. I'd be crunching their heads like Kids in the Hall. They don't get it. They never got it. Ah, West Indian on your parents' side. Nice. I remember going to Toronto, man. I was like, God damn, there's so many Somalians here. It was like I felt cool because I was like, at least there was some black people here. But I didn't know they all had African accents. I was like, wait a minute. And I think all the Jamaicans in Detroit come from fucking Canada at this point. Um, all the not all of them, I should say. There's a lot of them though. You know, a lot of them are Canadian, or well, they came through Canada. They probably live in the city now though. Some things I need to rewind as I'm watching it, so require the full cinema experience. Yeah, it would be a great wrestling gimmick, especially if somebody didn't get it. and you can be really angry, just crush it, crush it, crushing his head. That would be a great wrestling character. It'd be a great character for sure. For somebody who have a bad attitude, he's like crush, crush, crush. I think people would really get it too, and it'd be fun. Especially if he was to play into people trying to crush his head, so he'd be trying to cover his head and stuff. That would be great. Or trying to dodge people crushing his head. That would be fun. That is something like the Miz would do, but it also sounds like something that the Miz would be more of a victim of, because he'd probably overreact to it. And I think if you were to do it to the Miz, he'll get it over. The crazy thing is, I don't actually rewind movies when I'm watching them, unless I really did miss something. And I'm glad I found Dragon Ball Super, because I was going to watch The Woman King tomorrow, because I'm off tomorrow. That's why I'm doing this live stream, by the way. But if Dragon Ball Super is up, and this is really Dragon Ball Super, which it seems to be, shit, I'm just gonna watch that. I'm not watching that fucking Woman King movie. I may watch it anyway, but I want to watch Dragon Ball Super. I've been waiting for that fucking movie for months to pop up on the site for me to watch it. I wish I had watched it before I did this stream, though, so I could talk about it. I was very disappointed when I found out that Maurice was Canadian. I thought she was French for real. Crime Time or Prime Time? Are the Prime Time players? I didn't hate the Prime Time players. I didn't hate Crime Time either. I think Crime Time was more entertaining. You're going to review The Woman King if you do watch it. Yes. The only thing I really have to say is, like, I've seen so many people, like, I haven't listened to too many in-depth reviews of The Woman King, but I've seen a lot of people going at it hard for the historical aspects of it. And I always say, look, Hollywood is going Hollywood. It's not meant to be a documentary. It's meant to be a fucking movie. So they decided that the Dahomey are going to be anti-slavers in the movies, despite the fact that the Dahomey were slavers. They decided that the female soldiers are the greatest warriors in the country or some shit, even though that's not entirely the truth of what the Dahomey was like. But, people have read books I hadn't read. When I read papers on the Dahomey, I saw that they said that the female military, which is what the Dora Milaje of the Black Panther are based on, which is, of course, the same thing this movie is based on, that they were essentially a police force, that they would go around and basically break up local land disagreements or whatever. They weren't like a military, but it's unfortunate that, people took these things and are now making them this, but I'm going to judge the movie on its own merits, not whether, everybody else like it or not. Canada sucks. Canada sucks. Absolutely. Fake Americans and fake French. Oof. They're too nice to be Americans, and they're too rude to be French. It is sad R-Truth not on TV, because R-Truth, he was entertaining, joyful superstar. Sad Triple H not to use him. I agree. I think R-Truth should definitely be on our television more often. Lots of people from Somalia and Toronto. Yep. Feminist movie. But the shea butter. The crusty ankles. Yeah, that's what they make movies for now, though, They make movies for, the shea butter crowd. And the hair hat crowd. And I don't understand why they make movies for them. It's stupid. It's a stupid feminist movie. It's not going to do any good. It's going to piss everybody off. So, who has the best theme? That's a good question. I would say, well, the Good Brothers have just finished up an Impact, because I love the Good Brothers theme. I love their theme. I thought it was great. I love Darby Allin's theme. I think AEW has better things than WWE for sure. WWE's themes are so lifeless. Some of the AEW themes are lifeless too, but the WWE things that just have no passion. You can give pretty much any song to any character at this point. Yeah, the Shea Butter Bras. It's hilarious. The aloe vera crowd. You know, the look, man. They're a funny bunch. Those chicks, ain't they? Champa. Champa's theme, his new theme is okay. It's, Ricochet's theme is all right too. I don't think it's the best though. I wish they would go back to Imperium's original theme. You know, I think they're. I don't know why they would not. You know, yeah, Omen in the Sky. That shit rules. I love that song. You know, um, I like their Impact theme too, but Omen in the Sky was very good. Dun, 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 dun. Somebody has told me that they were in the conversation of bringing back the Good Brothers to the WWE, and I looked at that as a slap in the face. I'm taking that personally. Um, there's no reason for you to bring back the Good Brothers unless you're trying to make AJ Styles happy, and you just want to have another trio. Look, if you want to have trios, they're gonna have trios belts because I don't want that. I don't want WWE to have a trios belt. I don't want them to have a 6-man title. I don't want that. But it seems like that's where they're leaning towards. They're probably gonna bring New Day back, have New Day back as a united front, bring back the Good Brothers, team with AJ Styles, and then maybe bring Finn Balor over to them. But that shit sucks. The divester Shea Butter wants that hate on brothers that can get a Jamie Hayter type, but flaunt others liking them when no one is really eyeing them. Those are the kinds that marry the white man and then say that white people are evil. Professional bed wenches. It's a sad, sad deal. I don't understand what those chicks are up to, man. It's mentally, they're immature as hell. Too much Griselda pop. uh, they're just dorks. That's the thing. Like the Good Brothers are just big old dorks. That's the thing I don't like about them. I don't like dorks. Yeah, Raquel needs her own theme back. This theme that they got for her today is that Zorro shit. I don't know what's up with that. Big E is fine. He's been going around and everything, but I don't think he can wrestle. I think that they're going to tease him coming back. I keep hearing that he's going to come back the same night Cody comes back. And I don't want them both coming back in the Royal Rumble because that's dumb. Because only one of them can win it. And if you're going to tell the story, then Cody should be the one to win. And they're both coming off a comeback story. I think they should let one of them come back early and then the other one come back at the Royal Rumble. So, if Cody can come back sooner, maybe bring Cody back in December and you bring Big E back in January. If he can even come back. And then the question becomes, who wins the Rumble? The guy you just brought back or Cody? I think you stick the landing and go with Cody. Even though more people would... It'll be big fan servicey shit for Big E to be the guy to beat Roman Reigns. That'd be the most fan servicey shit in the world. That shit would piss me off so bad. Because I know it's not legitimate. And I know that Triple H likes Big E because he gave him the NXT belt. But fuck that, I know coming back from a career-ending injury is one thing, but no, man, fuck that. My bad, I had to blow my nose. So, I had to mute it a little bit. I don't like the Acclaim theme. It's just a beat. I like the beat, though. But they rap themselves to the ring. It's like... Doom, 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 doom. I don't mind it. I don't hate it, but I don't like the raps all the time. I like Hit Row's theme. I like the harmony in it, you know, but I don't like Hit Row. So I don't know, man. They suck. A lot of the Triple H's fan servicey ideas are falling on their ass. They suck. Um, I'm thinking Big E probably shouldn't wrestle again. That's what I'm thinking. I think he probably shouldn't. It's probably not a good idea, bro. You know, like, do we really need you to wrestle again? No, not really. You know, all of them marry white men. That's why I said that. They talk about how horrible black people are, white people are, and they marry white men. Like AOC. You know, she's on TV. Don Lemon, he's a bad wench. How many times is he gonna keep talking about how white men are the most dangerous, but he sleeps with a white man all the time? Get the fuck out of here, you. Don't get me started. AOC and Don Lemon are the two best examples of what the fuck I'm talking about when I call them bad wenches. They talk a good game. They whore themselves out for that white penis a lot. No, he's a wench. He's not a buck at all. He's a wench. Trust me. Lorenzo, I have a question to ask. If Bray Wyatt returned, Alexa Bliss going to go back with him? Is she going to go back to her dark characters? She should, which is it works for her, but I think she got a lot of heat for being involved with that, and she probably don't want to go to that. And plus, I think, how do you go back to it? I don't know how you go back to that. Do you think Xavier Woods will ever win a singles title? I think they will. I think the King of the Ring is what he really wanted. And he ended up getting that King of the Ring. I think he's good now. He probably wants to win another title. He, as long as he's wrestling, he wants to do more. But I think WWE is eventually going to transition him more into that G4 stuff. Especially if that stuff catches on. And if, heaven forbid, WWE actually just goes and buys G4, because they probably could. And if merges it with up, up, down, down, or something like that, they'd probably push him on the way over to that, and he'll never win a title. Yeah, Hit Row needs an R-Truth. They need a character. They need somebody with some swag in that fucking group. Who's going to win the Women's Royal Rumble? I think it's probably going to be Rhea Ripley. If I had to take a guess of who's going to win the Women's Rumble, I'd say Rhea Ripley. Almost every POC who hates white people always date them, especially the loose. Yep. It's like, that's just what it is. Like, I'm not even tripping. I'm not gonna go like, Dr. Umar and you sleeping with the enemy and all that shit. I'm not gonna go that far. I believe people should be able to do whatever that is they want to do with their, but tell the truth. Stop. When AOC was talking about, I don't know if a mixed race relationship is for me. Like, bitch, you married a white man. And you was only going to marry a white man. Get the fuck out of here. We know goddamn straight you was never, ever, ever going to marry a Puerto Rican. That was never going to happen. You was never going to get you a Jose. There was no Juan in your future. Get the fuck out of here. You a liar. You're a liar. You was always going to marry a white man. It's good for your career. So it's ridiculous. Taking it from his Anglo King. G4 is a video game site. It used to be far more popular. It used to be a TV network, but then they went out of business, and then they relaunched it as a YouTube channel, and now it's dead again because they hired some kind of a feminist broad who tanked it, like episode 1. But it had some. WWE should buy it and buy like Attack of the Show and everything and put it on the network. Yeah, Dr. Umar is a fake, and I felt bad for him because he's very funny though. A lot of those, the Kofi brothers, they real shitty. They're stupid. Just because she married him doesn't mean she's gonna sleep with them. Well, who is she sleeping with? She's still not sleeping with Juan. She's still not giving Jose none of the Kit Kat. It ain't happening. Yeah, Ace of Ray is another. Yeah, I never liked that broad anyway. After she got that stupid TV show. Del Rio was actually a good heel, but you couldn't understand shit he was saying. So I'm gonna go with Theory. Ninja Warrior, yes, that was so good. That was so good. And that one show, it was like a bad Japanese dub show. Man, that shit was crazy. I used to love the old G4, and they used to show anime on there. They had anime on the old G4 TV channel. We need a rich guy gimmick. We need a good one. Let's put it like that, because we got Baron Corbin. He's doing a rich guy gimmick, but he's not good at it. Not really. Hopefully that him and JBL pop up and they could do something interesting. Issa Rae with her giant fucking teeth, her big ass mouth. My favorite was Shingo Yamamoto. I also loved Iron Chef. Iron Chef was so fun. That was one of my favorite TV shows when I first got cable. Triple H wants Tyler Bate as Brian Dunn. Ugh. Look, ain't nothing wrong with Tyler Bate. You know, it's not like I dislike the guy or anything like that, but I don't really need him. I don't need him for that role. You know, we need big, strong guys. Triple H knows what's going on, man. You know, he keeps saying, "Oh, I was already in the system. I was been doing this for 15 years, or 25 years, or whatever." It's like, I don't know, man. I see what you're doing. I don't like it. Yeah, they always doing that shit. They always bringing in chicks to, you know. See, the thing is, the old G4 and the old video game networks and stuff like that, they knew what these chicks was all about. You know, they paid these broads a lot of money, and all they did was look good in bikinis, and they talked about the shit they knew about, or they just held a microphone and let the dorks talk. That's it. You know, now they try to make the girls the gamers too, and most of them don't know shit from sugar. So like, I don't get it. And I used to be really into that stuff. I got like a stack of Game Informer magazines and all kinds of shit. You know, so I used to be deep into that stuff, man. But there's only so much of that shit you can take and deal with before you like, fuck this, I'm out. And the price hiking on the video games is enough for me. No, I wouldn't say Candace Owens is a shea butter, you know, because Candace Owens isn't I'm black, y'all, I'm black, y'all, I'm blackity black, and I'm black, y'all. I think that I think Candace Owens she is who she is, man. I think she was always going to date a white man too. You know, I know quite a few Candace Owens types. I know quite a few of them. They not quite, you know, the woke denizens though. Tiffany Stratton and Happy Corbin, a natural fit for a stable. I don't know. Like, what kind of situation would it be? Because I think Tiffany Stratton having a, you know, unseen, unknown rich daddy would be great. You know, a new modernized equivalent of the $1 Million Corporation. I don't see why we just can't. Well, can we just use Ted DiBiase? He needs the money. He got to pay back the state of Mississippi. He needs the money now. Oh, well, yeah. You know, you have to explain the money, though. Where did the money come from? They used to also show another one that was, what, Soul Taker or something like that on G4? Was it Soul Taker? I tried to watch it again on my favorite bootleg site. And I hated that show. I used to love it as a kid on G4 when it came on G4. It's like the guy's mother murdered him or something like that, and now he's trying to figure out why his mom did it and all that kind of shit. Now he got supernatural powers and all that. I tried watching it again recently. I was like, this shit sucks. I gave up on it and stopped watching it. I think it was called the Soul Taker or something like that. So it's not Soul Eater. Because Soul Eaters, I think I actually did finish that. I don't remember shit about it, but I finished it. Because that's the one with the smiling sun, right? Soul Eater. Ted DiBiase could be revealed as the rich daddy. Tiffany DiBiase could be interesting. Hyphenate her name like Tiffany Stratton DiBiase or Tiffany DiBiase Stratton. That'd be crazy. People will flip out. It'd probably be more like grandpa then at that point, you know, because I think Ted's old enough to be her granddaddy. He like 60 something. She's 22. Yeah, she's probably old enough to be like her granddad. Not the zaddy though. They ain't man enough to do the sugar daddy gimmick. They ain't man enough for that. You know, they tried. They had something like that with Ric Flair and Lacey Evans, and people absolutely turned themselves inside out complaining about that shit. You know, I was loving it. It was hilarious. It fit Ric Flair so much to be a sugar daddy, just like it fit Vince a lot to be a sugar daddy. You know, why wouldn't it? Isn't that weird though that they put Ric Flair in a sugar daddy situation and then it came out like a year later that Vince was the sugar daddy? That was great. That was some great TV, wasn't it? I was grossed out. Like, why? You know, these chicks. You had John Stossel. He just did an interview with Ella girl. She makes like 20 grand off OnlyFans or some shit, and she was talking about how much money she makes tricking on, of old dudes tricking online. You know, I think Lacey Evans and Ric Flair was having fun with that. You know, well, Lacey Evans was having fun with it anyway, and then she went and got pregnant for real. Like, fuck this. You know, pandemic babies. But I loved it. I thought that was great. They could have. I know Charlotte had to be upset though. That's probably why they dropped it. Charlotte was upset. She ain't like that shit. And Flair probably thought it was fun, but was just doing whatever for a paycheck and didn't think too much about it. But I was on this bitch laughing my ass off, dog. That's the kind of shit that I needed on TV. It's over the top. It's obviously not true, but it puts you in such a weird position because you like Ric Flair's fucking Lacey Evans. And it's pissing Charlotte off because Lacey Evans is pretending to be her mama-in-law. I love that shit. That shit's great. I think they're just booking. They don't know what to do with Lacey Evans because the crowd, they liked her a little bit when she was a babyface, but they didn't need a babyface. And then the whole military hero thing. WWE's being weird about it, and everybody else is being weird about it. And then they turned her heel and they killed it. They killed it all. And then Triple H took over, and she's just one of the people he's not interested in doing anything with. Ray Phoenix or Dominic? Well, how bad do you want the match to be? Because Dominic cannot have a good match, but Ray Phoenix cannot have a match that looks, believable. So, I don't know. Ray Phoenix could do all the moves, but none of that shit gonna. He might hurt himself. He might hurt somebody else, but he can get the shit done. He can at least get through a match. So I'm gonna go with Ray Phoenix. Dominic sucks so bad, man. I don't understand why y'all don't understand this. I don't see why y'all don't see this. He's real bad at everything. We're probably gonna do another 8 or 10 minutes because my laptop is at 14%, and I don't want to plug it in and still be on it. So we're just gonna try to power through the next 7 or 8 minutes. We're gonna do an even 3:30, which is still longer than I intended it to be, but at least we got into the shit that I want to talk about this time. Last time we didn't get into nothing. I still got shit sitting here that I wanted to talk about. I like Lacey Evans though. I don't know why did this girl send me all these goddamn TikTok videos? I have no use for this. Why don't girls send you stuff you can't use? Send me something else. I can't use this. I can't use this. Sending me all these TikTok videos. Oh shit! I go back on Twitter and the first thing I see is people complaining about the House of Black being trademarked by AEW. Dominic, cheap sympathy cause dad. Not even sympathy. It's basically Dominic's Ray's whole run now is is giving Dominic the rub. And he basically said that. You know, he basically said he's back for Dominic, and he's basically giving Dominic the rub. That's it. Uh, it's not authentic. Everybody knows it's not authentic. You know, it's not until Dominic does something that's authentic that people are gonna care about him. Who's worse, Dominic or Pillman Jr.? Dominic. I'm telling you, Dominic is easily worse than Brian Pillman Jr. Pillman Jr. was actually good in MLW. Favorite MCU Spider-Man outfits you like to see adapted? I would like to see them take a crack at the black suit. I want to see them take a crack at the black suit. I want to see them take a crack at the original Spider-Man outfit too. I don't think they did that one yet. My favorite, I didn't like Iron Spider. I think that was shit. I like the classic Spider-Man suit from Civil War. I thought that was pretty good too. Dominic Mysterio, not convincing at all. You can see he is trying not to laugh, talking to his pops and Ray despite being a heel. Well, he is not as prepared as he should be. Who has more potential, Trick Williams or Lee Moriarty? I think Trick Williams is already bigger star than Lee Moriarty. You know, Trick Williams is going to stand in front of a crowd, cut one promo, and be more over than Lee Moriarty. Because Lee Moriarty is not over. And that's not his fault. You know? He was brought into AEW based off of Tiger style wrestler matches. That's what he's brought in to do. And that's all he's done. And so, did the guy do his job? Yes. You know, they gave him a shitty job. So, there that go. But Trick Williams, big, muscular, great shape, charismatic, can cut a promo. Dom needs to hit a gym. He also needs a personality transplant. He also needs a new face. So I don't know. Man. The fact that he had to turn heel at all is a problem. You know, his last name is Mysterio. He should never have to turn heel. Who is the most bland wrestler in AEW? Daniel Garcia or Wheeler Yuta? That was easily Yuta. Yuta is the shit. Tell me 3 positive things about Yuta that's only about Yuta. It doesn't apply to anybody else. He said the classic suit was adapted in the final swing in No Way Home. Unless you mean Amazing Fantasy outfit, I believe the black and red one he's been wearing is the suit. I don't remember the final shot from No Way Home. I really don't. Did I see that movie? Yes, I did. I did see that movie. What the hell? That's the movie where all the Peter Parkers came in, right? Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember. I'm not even gonna hold you up. I don't remember. But the Spider-Man with the expressive eyes, I like that. I like when they added that to the character because that was something that the movies hadn't had before. That just meant that he needed to be CGI, which whatever. I'm not really a big fan of the whole CGI Spider-Man thing, but they got the expressive cartoon eyes that everybody wanted. Eddie Kingston is a shea butter. He's a fucking Puerto Rican. What do they wear? I can't tell you. Daniel Garcia sounds cool. If he spoke Spanish, he would be cool. He's not. He's not though. Because Daniel Garcia, there's nothing fucking cool about that guy. If he wasn't such a kid, I would go harder on him. If he wasn't like 23 or 24 or something like that, I'd be roasting the shit out of Daniel Garcia. But he's just a kid, So I'm not going to go too hard on him. If he was like 28 or something like that, I'd tear into him. Like, that's why I don't like Wheeler Yuta, because I know he's older. Wheeler Yuta is the shits, all right? I'm talking the guy was boring in Ring of Honor, which is the land of boring. He came off the boring tree. He was a boring fruit on a boring tree. Come from a boring seed in a boring soil. That kid sucks. God, I don't think they probably don't even play music in his house. That's how boring that kid is. I think he woke up every day to the sounds of pots and pans and chalk on boards. I don't think Hector Garza was very good. They already have several Hispanic stars and Garcia Starks in particular. Eddie Kingston is also Hispanic. Oh, did y'all know that they started calling Bailey? Well, Bailey's calling herself Bailey Martinez now. So be prepared for that to be on TV, because it's coming. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure she's about to start doing Bailey Martinez now, and I don't know how that's going to get over with people. I need to watch some Hector Garcia while you're talking about it. I love the Briscoes. They're great. Why they would sign to ROH when there's no ROH TV show makes no sense to me, though. Why would you do that? Why would you sign somewhere where there is no place to sign? I mean, to do what exactly? What's your favorite AEW faction? The Pinnacle. I didn't really have one. I didn't like any of the fucking factions in AEW. House of Black was alright. But they didn't do a good. The Pinnacle was the only one where they actually did a good job explaining them. I'm done with Bailey. That's unfortunate. What did she do? Oh yeah, the Briscoes not being on American television is a shame. You know, because Mark got 100% bushwhacker energy. Yeah, 100% bushwhacker energy. Yeah, I know. The Briscoes not being on AEW is one thing. Why WWE won't bring them in is another thing. How bad do their criminal records got to be? If you got Booker T and MVP on there, if they got kidnapping and murder or some shit. They always forming new factions in AEW that go nowhere. The firm sucks. I like their theme song, but it sucks. Look at the members. It sucks. You know? And they're a firm on contingent. We only come together when he needs us. What? All right. I understand you trying to do something different, but fuck out of here. Yeah, Jay is the more serious guy. Mark is, Luke from the from the Bushwhackers. I didn't like Moose in ROH. I don't think he fit. I don't think he fit that show. I don't even know what's funny at this point, man. I think I just want to see the Briscoes fight the Usos. That's all. I just want to see them fight the Usos, see them fight the New Day once. If they could bring the Briscoes in to wrestle the Usos for WrestleMania or SummerSlam or something like that, that would be great. Or even Saudi Arabia or something. That could rule. That could kick ass. And then we can move on. ROH exists because Tony Khan has the money to make sure it still exists. And it's a stealth way of him hiring people for AEW. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't book the Briscoes for an AEW pay-per-view and just doesn't show highlights of it. Jacob Fatu is caught in that death triangle of a contract with MLW. And I think he also probably has some serious shit on his record. Because that's why they didn't bring him in. But Jacob Fatu is tremendous. That kid fucking rules. Yeah. Jacob Fatu is really good. He's very agile. He can talk too. Like for a long time there, he didn't really talk. But he can actually talk too. He just sounds like somebody. He sounds like one of my uncles. Right. That's what I'm thinking of. Like, what does MJF do for them? He gives them money. Okay, they're his whores. They're his whores. Oh yeah, he's very fast. Um, he's very agile too. Like he takes big moves well. Like he takes power bombs and shit very well too. For a guy his size, he reminds me a lot of Yoko when Yoko was smaller. The Yoko that Vince would have seen before he got super fat when he was Coquina. He reminds me a lot of that, which is crazy. Tony Khan booking. Tony Khan, Cocaine Khan. What a guy. What a guy Tony Khan is. As a matter of fact, man, if we wanted to talk about wrestling, we should have talked about Vince Russo's comments about Tony Khan. But I never got around to it. So maybe we'll talk about it some other time. Maybe I'll actually do a regular video about what Vince Russo had to say about Tony Khan. Bobby Roode, I don't know. That's a good question. I have no idea where Bobby Roode is. I know they said he was going back to doing his regular character, and he was working house shows, but I don't think he hasn't been called back yet. Hammerstone is great. He would fit in wonderfully in WWE, especially in Vince McMahon's WWE. And Triple H's, who knows? I think Triple H would like the body type, but know that he's on something. They'll definitely tell him to get off the HGH because they know he's on it. But we can see your stomach, sir. I don't think Tony Khan books as much as he just copies shit that he's seen before. So, wait a minute. What's this? What am I doing? I'm pushing buttons. Oh, Bobby Roode is an agent now? Oh, wow. They stealth retired him? You got that stealth retirement? Just, oh no, I thought they usually put him on commentary first. Usually, we're going to put Bobby Roode on commentary, and then that's when it's over for you when they put you on commentary. Yeah, I've seen some of those videos too, but it was the tweets that got my attention. He tweeted at Tony Khan about something, and everybody was on his head. Yeah, Bobby Roode being an agent, that's his career is over. He's in his 30s. Well, he's in his 40s now, isn't he? Yeah, it depends on who he's going to be. He needs to be get some of the young boys for sure. Especially if he's getting them down in NXT, Bobby Roode could be really useful. That's the crazy thing is there's a lot of guys out there who will be good agents, but they already fucked up their name for whatever reason. A guy like Low Key probably be an interesting. Oh, he's 45. Oh, yeah, it's over. It's over, big dog. Hang it up. Hang it up, big dog. Yeah. If Vince didn't push him right out of the gate, it wasn't gonna happen. Because he was 36 when that happened. That was about 10 years ago. He's probably 38 or something. I'm trying to get some confirmation on that him being an agent thing. Because that's real. That's raw. That'd be all these fucking TNA guys become agents in WWE. Abyss is an agent. Jerry Borash works in production. There's somebody else that works in TNA that's in Abyss. I said Abyss already, didn't I? Oh yeah, Low Key burned up every bridge possible. The only place he can fucking work is House of Glory. You would think as fucking desperate as Impact is, they won't bring back Low Key. They're desperate as shit for talent. They won't bring in Low Key or Austin Aries. That's how fucked up these two idiots have made their careers. That Impact, which basically is begging people to come work for them, won't bring those two fucking guys in. Not only does Impact have zero depth, there's just no interest. They're doing something stupid this next weekend too, which I'm gonna do a review of it. Because this show, Victory Road, actually it's going to be better than the last show. There's some actually interesting things going to happen on that show. But it's pretty clear the Impact ain't got nothing going on. They got no life. The show is just either blandly competent or blandly boring. Just no two ways about it. Nothing major. Speaking of which, did anybody watch Women of Wrestling as it started this weekend? Did anybody watch it? I saw Jeannie Buss on TV talking about it all for like a week. And I said I was going to give it a shot. I was going to look at it, but I hadn't been able to find it. And I definitely haven't been able to find it online either. So, I don't know. It's on regular broadcast television. It's already in syndication. So I don't expect it to do good ratings. But she's also a multi-billionaire, so she can pay for that kind of shit and don't have to worry about it. So, nobody's seen this shit. Is it actually on the air? I haven't been able to find a bootleg version of the show. And I don't know anybody who's ever seen it. And check out Jessie Jones. Where does she work? So I'm starting to think that WoW Women of Wrestling doesn't really exist, and it was all just one big work. Yep, she's the Lakers chick. She owns a wrestling show now. Oh, nope. This was her first season. The last season was the previous owner. And I watched some of that, and I laughed my ass off at that shit, because that shit was dumb. It was dumb as fuck. It was dumb as fuck to the max. It was a stupid fucking... They literally had a chick whose gimmick was, like, living with Aborigines or something like that. It was like, that shit was embarrassing, man. Like, she had like a spear and shit like that. That shit was hilarious. Beast was the black chick, wasn't she? She like, rawr. It's like they was playing up the characters a little too hard. But I did enjoy seeing people that I've seen before on there. Like Kiera Hogan was on there. You know, Tessa Blanchard was on there. So that was fun. Seeing people that I haven't seen in a long time, or seeing them under different names. Even though the names were generic as hell. Like Giselle Shaw was on there under a different name. And so was Kiera Hogan. But, yep, Nikita Lyons came from WoW. She's on the last season of WoW before Jeannie Buss bought it. I stopped watching it before I got to her, though. She has a MAGA character with red hair. Oh, holy shit. Holy shit. Something tells me I'm just going to have to go and look that one up right now. Let's see how that goes. Jessie Jones. Wow. Jessie Jones. Wow. Let's see. Jessie Jones versus Fire. That's Kiera Hogan. The best of Jessie Jones. Okay, here it is.
We have big news. Kellogg's Cinnamon.
She got massive heat. Okay, let's see. I went to the best of Jessie Jones. We're about to do this live. This is going to be the last thing we do before we get out of here.
But in doing so, she might have telegraphed the left shoulder. Oh my gosh, she's going to break her arm with moves like that.
What's going on here?
Look at that.
Oh, they just showing the highlight moves. Where's her mic stuff? Oh, that's Nikita Lyons right there. She's actually smaller now in this video than she was now. She clearly gained some weight. Oh, shit.
You know what, Lana? Talk is cheap, and so is your plastic surgeon.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
It's been a very smart strategy, and it seems to be working out so far because Jolie cannot get any offense against the again getting that arm worked over by Jessie Jones, but then she suffers that double clothesline. Tide is turning. Kickoff. Say that, Steven. I thought she was going to take her over, but come on, referee Eddie Bird.
Well, that did me nothing. That did nothing for me. Because she only had one line in the whole thing. Um, it was right. It was Wild Women of Wrestling. This guy told me that she had a good promo. I wanted to hear it, so I went to. I figured, hey, let's do it live. See my live reaction to this thing, and it was mostly her doing hip tosses and shit. I don't understand what's going on here. I wanted to hear her go in on somebody, but apparently that's not her. That's not her gimmick. They didn't think that was one of her great things. Oh, wait a minute, here it is. Make wrestling great again. Oh boy, what's this? What's going on now? What's happening?
My name's Jesse Jones.
Okay, she's like Medusa a little bit. What's happening? Is she gonna talk in this thing? She's spitting. Look, I've watched 2 videos and she ain't doing nothing. Fuck this. No more chances. Whose hips? Whose hips we talking about here? I don't know. There was some video with that Jesse Jones chick on it. I thought she was about to cut a mean promo. She started spitting and everything. I was like, wait a minute. But then it went into her doing clotheslines poorly. And I'm just like, oh God, no. Seth Rollins versus Riddle is going to happen. Extreme Rules, Riddle is going to win. Did Rollins refuse to put over Riddle? Clash at the Castle due to their real life heat? I don't think so. I did watch the Mac. I love the Mac. It's one of those movies with really bad acting in it though. Yeah, Faithy J has great hips for Christ's sake, but she gained a lot of weight from her Women of Wrestling days. I just looked at her. She was kind of skinny then. But and you see her music videos, she was thick as fuck in those videos too. So I don't know, man. That girl got an incredibly changing body. And it works. She's only like 23 or something like that. That girl bad. Good Lord. Good Lord. What the hell? You talking about Blackula? You remember the movie Dracula, but black film? Vampire in Brooklyn? Both of those movies are not good. I didn't like Vampire in Brooklyn. And I didn't mind Eddie Murphy movies. I just didn't like Vampire in Brooklyn. Maybe I need to see it. I haven't seen it in a long time. Okay, Blackula, that's a 70s film. I'm not really... I don't know. I haven't seen that movie in a long time either. Couldn't give you a good opinion on it. Almost bust myself in the lip, so I'm getting kind of... I know I'm getting tired. My lip hurt like hell. Shit. I wanted to hear some original Gangster, the movie with Jim Brown and what was the other guy's name? Shaft, right? My brother loved that movie. That was his favorite movie for a long time. Was Original Gangsters, and I couldn't stand it because he used to watch it way too much. It shit used to get on my nerves. But yeah, the movie with Jim Brown in it. It was okay, I guess. It wasn't great, but it wasn't as good as he thought it was. He watched that shit like every day. Man, I heard that Jericho and Claudio promo, man. I turned the TV off. I was what was I doing when I was watching that shit? Oh, it was after work yesterday. I watched NWA and I watched Rampage because I thought I wanted to see Joshua Woods versus Samoa Joe. I don't think I got that far. I think I barely got through that Matt Hardy thing before I was like, you know what? Oof. I pushed and pushed. I ended up finishing the show by the grace of going to wash dishes and something like that in the middle of it. And I still like Josh Woods though, but they couldn't get me to care about him. Yeah, I see that Sammy Guevara is wrestling Eddie Kingston. They're gonna force them to work together. That's smart business on Tony Khan's part. But of course, now that the storyline is blown over, who really cares, right? You know, you do it about a month late, right? Brian Cage and Samoa Joe teamed up. Did I miss that? Because I didn't see that. Then again, I barely watched the end of Rampage. I wasn't paying attention. All right, y'all. Okay. One more topic. We're going to do it 3:50. It's got another 40 seconds or so. I appreciate everybody for coming out, man, especially during my little snafu when I lost everybody for a few minutes. But this has been a very healthy conversation. I'm going to try to do more Sunday streams on when there's no pay-per-views. I think Sunday is a pretty safe day to do a stream. Except for next Sunday, because I got to go to work on that Monday. But days when I don't have to work, I'll probably, or days when I worked, but I don't have to work, the next day, I'll probably do a stream. So I'll definitely be doing streams probably on Thursdays. Because I definitely don't have to work on Fridays. So I'll probably do Thursday streams. And then on non-pay-per-view Sundays, maybe. What kind of snacks did I have? I had a Nature Valley bar, which probably isn't the best thing to even have. It's basically a cookie, which is not a good thing to have. Brian Cage and Samoa Joe versus Tony Nese and this sucks. Brian Cage. You know what? Last question. Is it going to be like this? Do we see surprise on Raw? I think they're probably going to do that White Rabbit thing again. They probably will pull out a surprise for Raw. Because they're going to want people to be interested in Raw. Because they're doing that whole Logan Paul thing on SmackDown. Do you think Wesley should be in a tag team or stay as singles? Personally, I feel like he worked better as a tag team. Yeah, I agree. And then when you have a lot of guys with his similar body type and similar style, like Ricochet and then Oro Mensah and Malik Blade and Idris Enofe, all these guys are just kind of like athletically built, smaller black dudes. They're all almost the same, you know. I thought they were bringing back Leo Rush. They was teasing Leo Rush. Well, Leo Rush was teasing coming back. And I'm still very interested in that. And bringing Leo Rush back. I don't hate Leo Rush. I think that he's a fucking idiot. But he's a talented guy. And if he's going to cut promos for Lashley, that's great. You know. If Wesley can get a character and a personality, he would be great too. You know. He doesn't have a personality, so he sucks. All right. Leo Rush in the Hurt Business. Absolutely. If it could be Leo Rush and Lashley versus MVP, Cedric, Shelton, and Omos in a Hurt Business Part 2, that would rule. All right. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll probably do a video on Vince Russo and Tony Khan for tomorrow. And I'll talk to you guys later, man. Probably do another stream on Thursday, unless I do one sooner than that. I don't know. But I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.